All right, I've been having some problems with YouTube. I don't know if I'm live, so I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see if the chat starts moving. When the chat starts moving, we're grooving.
Rochester 2170 car. Information from a passerby, couldn't give any vehicle description. Northbound
I'm live.
Highway 61.
Great.
Have a vehicle that's going southbound in the
Great.
northbound lane.
Great,
from
great,
mile
great.
marker 102. Just east
All right,
of
guys, welcome
Highway
back
316.
to another Ryan Hall Y'all live stream. It's been a while since I've seen you guys. It's been kind of slow this month. Thankfully, that's always a good thing. But we really haven't had any reason to go live. But we're here today. We are here today, and we are live, and we are ready to cover this weather. We've got a bunch of stuff going on. But first of all, before we get into it, I want to know where you guys are watching from. As tradition, let's everybody go ahead and put where we're watching from in the chat, okay? Are you from Ohio? Are you from Illinois? Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, anywhere like that? Let us know where you're watching from today so that we can get a good gauge on where our audience is, so that we can make sure that we're covering the weather the best for you. Today's risk is an enhanced risk of severe weather. It's not, usually we only go live whenever it's moderate or high or something like that. But right now, we do have that enhanced risk of severe weather. We've got the biggest threat's going to be damaging winds and large hail. But outside of that, we do have a tornado chance. A tornado chance or two. Okay? Here's a look at that enhanced risk of severe weather on the Radar Omega app. This is what it looks like, okay? Everybody in the orange is under a slight risk of severe weather today. That includes Rochester, Minnesota. That includes... Whoa! That includes La Crosse, Madison, Milwaukee, Oshkosh, and Appleton, and Eau Claire in Wisconsin. It does not include Chicago, but Chicago's still going to get in on some storms. It includes Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, and Muskegon in Michigan. Okay, it does not include Detroit. I think the storms are going to die out a little bit before they get to Detroit.
Rochester 2170 car. Still getting 911s regarding that.
All right, that's what we're looking at here today, okay? Big area of severe weather. Now, on top of that, we also have some severe weather down here into the Ohio Valley. In fact, we got a new severe thunderstorm watch that just got issued for eastern portions of Ohio, northern portions of West Virginia, and southwestern portions of Pennsylvania. Big line of storms out here near Chillicothe, Zanesville, and Dover, moving east. Is that the latest radar frame? I feel like that might be a little bit outdated. Just a little bit. Maybe not, though. Okay. Anyways, severe thunderstorms out here. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Carroll, Harrison, Jefferson, and Belmont, and Noble, and Tuscarawas counties in Ohio. Okay, severe thunderstorm warning. That's that big line of storms moving through there. You're getting ready to get in on it, though, in Chillicothe, Peebles, Waverly, Logan. I honestly think, just based off of radar, that looks more intense than the parts up here that are actually warned. Additionally, we got some more storms back here south of Chicago, training over the same areas over and over again, leading to some flash flooding down here south of Manon, north of Lafayette. Really strong storms. You see the purples and the dark reds there. There's more than likely strong enough rain happening there to produce, almost whiteout, blinding conditions. And then, of course, we've got the probability of some hail, some larger hail being in this storm near Brook. You get that for 30 minutes and it's bad enough, but if you get that constantly for an hour or 2 hours or something, you are just going to absolutely have to be dealing with the very strong flash flooding risk that comes along with that. Okay, so here's our biggest system, okay? This is the main big boy that we're watching today, south of Minneapolis right now. We got a severe thunderstorm warning that includes Faribault and Northfield. This is associated with this big cell right here, and that little thing, even though it's not that little, that big storm is going to actually cause a mesoscale convective system to form and propagate eastward all the way through the rest of the evening. So if you're in northeastern Iowa, if you are in any portion of Wisconsin south of Rice Lake, and if you are in the Chicago region or southwestern portions of Michigan, you are going to eventually get hit by this thing today, and this is what we think is going to cause our big time problems with maybe some straight line damaging winds, and of course some hail and tornadoes. Tornadoes are possible today. I think that yesterday and the day before that, I think that we thought that the tornado threat was going to be a little bit higher than what it actually is right now. So you know, it is what it is. I'm actually glad that the tornado threat has gone down. But as of now, I think that the main threat's going to be damaging winds. Let me refresh my thing here, make sure our locations are right. You can see we got two storm chasers out there today, Brandon Kopic and Vince Welty. Of course, if you guys have the Radar Omega app on your phone, you can keep up with them as well. Their little icons will be right here wherever they are. You can see Vince Welty's stream above me. He's cleaning off his windshield. But if we go check on Brandon Kopic, he's right in front of the storm right now in Waseca, Minnesota, just to the south of Faribault. And you can see we've got a really impressive looking,
yeah, that's for you.
What do you call that? Shelf cloud there. Right and that's the beginning stages of this big mesoscale convective system that's propagating to the east right now. You can see how ominous it looks. You can see all of the cool air that's getting pushed out from underneath it, and then all the warm air that's getting lofted up above. There's so much warm air out in front of this thing that I personally believe that nothing's going to stop it. That thing's going to continue to grow all the way as it heads into Rochester and then eventually into Madison, Wisconsin, and that's why we're live. That's why we're live today. We're going to watch this thing grow. We're going to watch this thing as it goes to the south and to the east, and we're going to relay warnings to you. Once again, severe thunderstorm warnings are going to be the most common thing that we see today, but we cannot rule out a tornado or two. Okay, especially if we get some prefrontal cells, okay, if we start seeing some thunderstorms popping up out in front of the main line here, because of the amount of wind shear that we have and the instability that we have, tornadoes are certainly possible if that happens. I don't see anything like that just yet. I see one big nasty line of thunderstorms that's got hail cores and possibly some 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, which, you know, is pretty bad in its own right. I'm just trying to be 100% transparent on the tornado threat here. It doesn't look too insane as of right now. Once again, we can click on Brandon Kopic and Storm Seeker number 3 here in the Radar Omega app, and we can look at his feed, and we can hear the audio too. It's pretty loud, but you can see there's 41 of you guys watching with me right now, and then down here there's 16 of you guys watching Vince Welty with me, and you can see all of the temperature information and everything from their live feeds right here from within the app. Very cool stuff. Make sure if you want to, you follow along. And here's another broad view of everything that's going on. We're watching this entire area for the potential for severe weather today. Damaging winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. And then, of course, hail and isolated tornadoes are going to be possible everywhere, okay? Everywhere in this circle, pretty much, all right? And you know, this southern portion, this part down here in Ohio is actually being a little bit more intense than I think we thought it was going to be, okay? We're actually seeing quite a bit of development here, whereas I believe this was supposed to be completely fizzled out at this point, okay? So if you're in southeastern Ohio, get ready for a big wall of wind and maybe some hail. Same thing back here. Flash flooding is going to be the main threat with that, but we are going to watch it closely. We're going to really watch this, as that's going to be the main troublemaker today, I believe. You guys want to take a look at the models? You want to look at the weather forecast models? Of course you do. Even though it is my personal opinion that once the storms are going, there's really no point in looking at it. There's really not a whole lot. I mean, there's just not a whole lot you can do looking at the forecast models once the storms have already started. Man, hold on. Wait. We got to look at this again. Look at that thing on the right side of Brandon Kopic's feed, man. That is one crazy structure. Once again, he's on Interstate 35, or he's near Interstate 35, going south towards Owatonna. Owatonna. Daggone it. Did I say that wrong? Did I say that wrong? I probably did. Oh, boy. Okay. All right. Anyways, this is what we're looking at here. We got to get an update from Brandon. Brandon, Mr. Kopic in Storm Seeker number 3. Man, is that a UFO or a cloud? What's going on over there, bub? So, let's see what Brandon has to say about that.
You know, I'm not really sure, to be honest. It's kind of scary and intimidating. Wow. Holy, sorry, insane CGs you guys will see on stream in a second here. Absolutely phenomenal structure on this storm. A+ structure. It's just absolutely beautiful. One of these days just reminds you why you absolutely love being out here. I'm going to keep going south on this road. There will be a good view of the storm here for a few more minutes. And then I'm going to go east and get further out ahead of it so I can get an even better perspective to show on stream.
Yeah, at some point, you've got to get the Storm Seeker number 3 with that in the background, man. You got to get a picture of that. That would be, I would print that out and put it on a poster and hang it up in the room here. That's a beautiful sight. Once again, guys, this is Storm Chaser Brandon Kopic and Storm Seeker number 3, intercepting an insane structure on the front end of this Boeing line segment that we're dealing with here. This is what it looks like on radar. Okay, so this is where Brandon is right now. This is the storm. Okay, so, and what we're seeing there is the actual structure that's unfolding before our eyes. Let me talk to Frank. Frank, just whenever you get a quick second, can you put Brandon in the number 1 spot? Actually, never mind. Don't do that. Completely disregard what I'm saying. Okay, I thought that we was going to be able to do something cool there, but we're actually not. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. Okay, yeah. I want to make sure that we can see Brandon's camera. Now, Vince is going to have a very similar view here before too long, and usually we keep Vince visible above my head there. But right now, Brandon is in a little bit of a better position. Anyways, if you're just now tuning in, we got severe weather in Minnesota, and this is what we're looking at. That's what we're watching right now, and we're going to continue to watch this as we track it on radar. Currently, we have a severe thunderstorm warning over here in Minnesota. That's going to be for Faribault and Morristown and Waseca. Hail damage to vehicles is expected, and wind damage to roof, siding, and trees is expected. That's what we've got going on here. I imagine that these severe thunderstorm warnings are going to expand as they go off to the south and east. Okay, we're going to have a little bit more activity down here on the southern side, and we'll start to see those boxes pop up a little bit more as it goes off. Somebody's telling me that we don't have closed captioning. Is that true? Is closed captioning not working right now? Closed captioning. How do I do that? Give me just a second. I know I'm hard to understand.
3538 Rochester.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I can't turn it on. I can't turn it on now that I've started the stream. That's a huge, huge boo-boo on my part. I'm sorry, guys.
Like
I forgot to turn on closed captioning.
Blocking part
I will.
Fully engulfed. Let's go ahead and get a
oh, man, that sucks.
big rig tow started.
We used to... never do closed captioning, but here recently, we've been doing it every stream. Sorry about that.
You've got debris on both sides of the road as
Hey,
well.
by the way, Caitlin, thanks for coming a member. Bennett, thanks for the very generous $20 super chat. And Teresa says, thanks for y'all praying for everybody's safety. Thank you. Look at Brandon. Look at Brandon out there. This is the captain, the driver, the pilot of Storm Seeker number 3. Look at that smiling face.
Can you add a VIN for me, please?
He loves it. He loves his job. He drives around the world, the country, looking at cool clouds. I mean, who wouldn't love that job? Who wouldn't love it? Hey, we've got a good review coming in here on Twitter. Quit says, Ryan Hall, y'all, is hands down the best weatherman ever. I agree. Like, retweet. No, I'm not that good. I'm here on YouTube. You know, I'm filling in for, when Jim Cantori ain't around, I'm a good backup. All right? I'm a good backup. Once again, if you're just now tuning in, we're waiting to see if any new information starts coming in with increased warnings, increased watches and stuff. We're watching all these storms as they progress down through the Great Lakes region, the upper Midwest, into the Ohio Valley. Right now, we've got some isolated severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings, but we don't have any tornadic activity that we're watching at this point. Let's see here. We got a severe thunderstorm warning for Vinton County, Ohio. We've got Carroll, Harrison, Jefferson counties in Ohio under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. And then in Minnesota, we've got Le Sueur, Rice, Steele, Waseca, and White counties. I'm sorry, White counties in Indiana, but you get the gist. We only have like 3 or 4 severe thunderstorm warning boxes that are open right now. So that's what's going on with that. We are also in the middle of watching 2 of the best storm chasers in the world kind of navigate through this situation. And I'll pull them up here in a second. But we've got all kinds of crazy stuff going on today. Even though today isn't necessarily a tornado day, it's still a dangerous day. Widespread damaging winds can cause tons of problems that, it doesn't always have to be a tornado in order to, have those problems be taken seriously. I'm sorry, I'm having some problems with my map here. I'm trying to fix it a little bit. I feel like our radar data is very far behind, and I'm trying to figure out why.
2121, it's not coming back in Minnesota. I will check all 50.
Sorry if I'm moving stuff around too much. Let's pull up Kopic here, because he's actually in the storm now. So Kopic is getting overtaken by some rain there. He had an incredible view of the shelf cloud not too long ago. Now, Vince Welty's actually a little bit further away.
173 made
so
he'll be taking the 52. I'll be out with
maybe we should keep an eye on him for a little bit so that we can see that shelf cloud as it gets closer. He's near Dodge Center, Minnesota. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. This is another view of a shelf cloud. It's Shelf Cloud City out there today. This is from Indianapolis, around 11 o'clock this morning. Can you tell me what kind of clouds these are? This is in Indianapolis. Yeah, I can tell you what kind of clouds this is. So basically what you're looking at here is a shelf cloud, all right? This is actually a very common thing, even though usually when people see them for the first time, I don't know how, but there are like 30-year-old people who have been alive for 30 years who somehow are seeing a shelf cloud in person for the first time. I don't know how that happens, but listen. This is a very common thing. Basically, all it is there's a big storm back here, right? And before it storms, usually it's very hot, it's very muggy. You've got those dew points rising and everything.
21.
And then when the storm happens, okay, you get. Let me draw it. Who wants to see me draw this? I am going to draw it. Hold on. Google Docs. Let me take you back to the radar here. I'll give me a white canvas. Learning with Ryan. Okay, so here's my canvas here. All right, so imagine, let me get my bearings straight. Imagine this is the ground. All right, that's the ground. Here is like you. All right, and where you are, it is very warm. It is very warm. It's very muggy. Okay, and then here is an area where there is a thunderstorm. Okay, big thunderstorm here, and it's raining. It's raining underneath the thunderstorm. It's hailing. There's a lot of wind. All right, there's some downdraft winds, and whenever this hits the ground, or whenever it gets closer to the ground, this rain-cooled air kind of comes out through the bottom of the storm, right? Because cooler air stays closer to the surface. Cool air sinks, warm air rises, and over here where you are, all that hot air is now incentivized almost to rise above that. Okay, so we get this rising motion out in front of the cool air. This is a terrible drawing. But right there where the cool air comes out from underneath the storm and that warm air is getting pushed up in front of it, that's where the shelf cloud forms. Okay, right in front of the storm. You're not necessarily seeing the actual storm when you look at a shelf cloud. You're seeing the cool air escape from out in front of it. All right. Usually, I'm basically Picasso with my drawings, but I don't know what was up with that one. But anyways, that's what you're seeing there. You're seeing the warm air getting forced up into the air by the cool air escaping out from underneath the storm. And it creates a very cool shelf cloud, which we can see live right now in Minnesota through Vince Welty's stream. Storm chaser Vince Welty is a professional storm chaser.
Could be felony warrant.
He's out there almost every day. He's out there almost every day, y'all, okay? It don't matter to him if there's going to be a tornado. It don't matter to him if there's going to be a snowflake, a rain shower. He's there, okay? His goal in life is just to always be wherever the worst weather is happening. And that's why we love working with him so much here. He always gives us good views of the weather. And right now, we're seeing a shelf cloud come in. And so is Bailey. So is Bailey Hammer. Bailey is laying in bed watching the best weatherman there is. Hey, thank you so much, Bailey. I appreciate the support. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm honored. I'm honored to have room on your screens today. Let's inspect our storms up here a little bit harder. We'll pull out all kinds of different radars here. We're just going to be radaring it up, okay? We're going to have a lot of different options. I'm trying to think of which is going to be our best one to monitor these storms in southeastern Ohio. Unfortunately, this is an area that is plagued by radar holes, so we don't have much to work with. But here we go. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning down here in Ohio for MacArthur, Zaleski. It's moving towards Albany, okay, and Chauncey. You're also getting ready to get hit by that same storm, but you're not necessarily under the warning. And then we have some warnings, some really strong storms moving towards Pittsburgh, or the areas just west and south of Pittsburgh. These will probably make it there if they continue to go as hard as they've been going. These are packing 60-mile-an-hour winds, maybe nickel-size hail, as they go through Barnesville, Flushing, and Cadiz in Ohio. All right. Checking back in on our very impressive storm that's coming through Minnesota right now. This is likely going to turn into a mesoscale convective system that affects millions of people as it goes off to the south and east in Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, maybe late tonight even into northern Indiana, maybe back into northern portions of Ohio. This is like what we're dealing with here. This is the beginning stages of it. This is the baby version of it, and that's what it looks like right now on radar. Only have one severe thunderstorm warning for Dodge County in Minnesota right now, so for the most part the storm is still below severe limits, but it's still going to pack a punch, and you can see it. You can see it live there in the distance from Vince Welty's camera. All right, and there's a good cloud-to-ground lightning strike too. Vince is a good 30-40 miles away from that thing, it looks like, or at least from the core of it. And what you're seeing there is the winds coming out, the cool air escaping from the bottom. Hey, holy smokes, man. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that in chat?
Marshall SP
Look at this.
93.
What was that? Oh, yeah. Roger
Deputy took care of the
Davidson.
debris. You can disregard.
Roger Davidson with the $200 super chat. Everybody say thank you, Roger. He said, I had my storm chasers out in Indiana. Are they not out there still? Have them send us some pictures and videos or something if you still got them out there, man. Thank you for the support, Roger. I recognize your name. You're here all the time. Couldn't do it if it wasn't for people like Roger. There's a picture of the Storm Seeker number 3 in front of that big-time shelf cloud. Beautiful looking storm out there today. And here we go. Here we go. Figuring out if we're going to play more softball today in the Twin Cities. Look at that. We're watching Ryan Hall, y'all, at Chick-fil-A. Love it. Love it. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
K417.
Once again, if you are just now tuning in, let's say you just sat down at Chick-fil-A. All right, you pulled up the stream. You said, what's going on today? All right, this is what we're doing. Okay, we're paying attention to mainly this area. Okay, this area right here from Minneapolis down through Madison into portions of Iowa, Illinois, the Chicago area, north of Indianapolis, southern portions of Michigan, into Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Okay, that's the target area today. That's where we're focused. Now, we have storm chasers on the ground up here in Minnesota, but we've got you guys down here, all right? Lots of people tuning in from around the country. We probably have a lot of people down here that are getting ready to get hit by some of these storms in Ohio and Indiana. We don't have storm chasers down there, but we have you. If you can do so safely and you can take a picture or a video of the storms today, feel free to send that to me on Twitter. At Ryan Hall, y'all, on Twitter. Go follow me, send me some stuff, and you can be a reporter just like Alex. Look at Alex here. He said this is a storm moving through London, Ohio. Look at that gust front on the front side. I bet right before this happened, there was a huge shelf cloud that was visible. Actually, he's under it. He's under it. He's in the whale's mouth right here. Look at this. So if you were... So he's underneath this, right? You see the bottom of the cloud there in Ohio? If you were in front of him by 10, 20 miles or something, this is what you would see. Not exactly, because this is in Minnesota, but you know, you see the shelf cloud there. Underneath that, looks like this. So very cool. He's actually underneath the shelf cloud. The wind that you see here is that rain-cooled air from underneath the storm that's being forced outwards as it hits the ground. That's what causes those shelf clouds. And we're seeing a lot of stuff like this today in and around all of these storms. So very cool. Thank you, Alex, for sending that in. And, of course, only send stuff in if you can do so safely, okay? We got a lot of people also tuning in. From the comfort of their homes. Okay, here we've got some kids watching in the living room. Love it. Staying weather aware here in Wisconsin. Thank you so much, Kirsten, for sending that in. Wisconsin is a place that needs to be weather aware today because these storms are going to grow upscale. They're going to gain strength as they get closer to Wisconsin. And in fact, I think that southern portions of Wisconsin are probably going to be the hardest hit areas today. All right. They are almost certainly going to be the hardest hit areas today. But once again, we're talking about damaging winds and hail. The tornado threat, the further we go into the evening, the less likely it looks like we're going to have to deal with tornadoes. All right. If they come, though, if they happen, I'm here. I'm going to let you know about them. All right. But I'm hoping for the best here. And I think that we're not going to have to deal too much with them anyways. Let's look at the future radar. Let's look at the forecast, all right? I know that some of you guys want to see that, so we're going to pull that up right now. Composite reflectivity, bada bing, bada boom. Can you see that? There we go. All right. So time and dates above my head. Let's skip on over to 2 p.m., which is right now, and you can see that the simulated radar shows what's going on right now to an extent. Okay, we got our storms over here in Ohio. We got those ones that are forming back here in Indiana. And then, of course, we've got our main showmaker back up here in Minnesota. Now, let's put this into motion. What's the radar going to look like 2 hours from now at 4 p.m.? Okay, this is Eastern time. Okay, I'm talking in Eastern time. I'm over here in Kentucky. All right, sorry. It's Eastern time when we're watching this stream. But anyways, this is what the radar could look like as we go into 4 p.m. So this big line of storms is still going to be propagating through the Ohio River area on the border of West Virginia and Ohio, potentially still causing damaging winds. Looks like the storms back here that are forming along the outflow boundary from that, though, are going to weaken a little bit. We can't take the HRRR, the simulated radar here. We can't take it as gospel. This isn't exactly how it's going to be, but according to this, they're going to run out of instability and they're not going to continue to grow as much as we've seen them over the past little bit. But look what is growing. This big line of storms up here in Wisconsin, okay? This is where we're going to be dealing with some of those straight line damaging winds, possibly in excess of 70 miles per hour. And that's what we're looking at there. Oops, let's go look at Brandon Kopic. He's got another view of the shelf cloud here. Once again, if you're just now tuning in, this is a live look at Brandon Kopic. He is currently on Highway 24 moving east towards West Concord in Minnesota. Okay, so if you live in Minnesota around West Concord, if you're in Concord and you need to go to Rice Lake, for example, he's on that road that you would take. All right. Now, Vince Welty, he is in a slightly different position, and he's got a much better wide-angle view of that shelf cloud right now. Vince Welty is near Claremont. Okay, so he's off of Highway 14 just to the north on Highway 34 looking west towards Owatonna and Havana and Pratt. Okay, so he's looking towards the city there, and that's what we're seeing. with this big shelf cloud. Usually when you see something this pronounced, when you see a shelf cloud that has this much definition to it, what that means is we are dealing with not only cool air coming out of the bottom of the storm and meeting that warm air and causing the cool visuals, but we're seeing a lot of it. There's probably some very strong straight line damaging winds happening underneath that cloud right now. So we're going to watch this unfold right in front of us here as we continue to look at both of our storm chasers and the radar at the same time. Once again, storm chasers Brandon Kopic and Vince Welty out there providing us fantastic footage for us. And we'll get an update from them right here in a second. Actually, let's go ahead and get an update from Vince right now. Vince, can you confirm that that's a cloud and not a giant UFO? And I'm going to get me a swig from the jug. I'm back on the gallon.
No.
All right, keep us updated. Once you get a little bit closer, if you don't see any aliens or anything, just let us know, because we're confused over here. We don't know if that's a cloud or a mothership. It is pretty. I mean, it does look cool. I'm not
currently trying to launch the drone, but having major technical difficulties due to an Android device. So we're going to reposition further down the road and switch to an iOS device and see if that solves our problem.
Oh, not an Android device. Look at Vince Welty being an iPhone Apple elitist. Wow. Okay, anyways, that's what we're looking at there. That is insane. Somebody's got to get a picture of that. Vince, you got to get a picture of the Seeker in front of that thing, man. I swear I'll put it on a poster and I'm hanging it up in my house. Just tuned in from Milwaukee. I hope you're doing well, Ryan. Are we thinking this bad boy can turn into a derecho? Wait, what did Vince say?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay. All right. So, anyways, Joseph, thanks for the very generous $10 super chat. He says, do you think this is going to be a derecho? I'm super excited for later in the day. Thank the Lord for underground parking. There is a possibility that this turns into a derecho, but the thing about that is we won't know until after it's over, right? Same thing as like if a tornado is hitting a town, a lot of people will come into the chat and be like, is this an F5? Is this an EF5? And it's like, maybe, I don't know. Like, you can't tell that until after the storm's over. You have to do the analysis on it after the storm's over. So it could end up being a derecho, but we're not going to use any buzzwords today unless the National Weather Service starts using it. So derecho or not, that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Look at how big it is, man. Holy smokes. Very impressive shelf cloud there coming from Vince Welty. And once again, we're going to take a look at the models one more time. Let me show you one more thing here on the models before we come back to this. So here's our storms, right? They're looking strong. That shelf cloud's going to make it all the way over there close to Milwaukee by 8 p.m. tonight. Still going to be dealing with the strong storms all the way across the lake into Michigan by 10 p.m., 12 a.m., midnight. Around midnight's when things are really going to start to calm down, okay? So you're going to get hit by the storms in Detroit around 1, 2 a.m. Eastern, but they'll be a lot weaker by then, okay? So the storm's going to maintain its intensity all the way through around 11 p.m., and then it's going to be over. So we're probably going to stream that long, unless it just falls apart before then. But, yeah, I think that if there's any chance for tornadoes today, let's turn on the significant tornado parameter here and see what's going on. There's actually there's a little bit of an increased chance. So right now, what I'm looking at is I'm remembering where that convection was on the simulated radar, and I'm referring to that while also looking at the significant tornado parameter, which is a model that puts together all the ingredients like helicity, lower level shear, that looks at the 850 millibar wind speeds, it looks at the dew point, it looks at the instability, and it looks at all that and puts it on a scale of 0 to 10 essentially of how likely it is that tornado-like conditions could exist in that specific spot. And usually whenever you see those parameters light up in front of storms, and the storms kind of suck those parameters in, that's when we have the most likely areas to see tornadoes. And what I'm seeing right now, is a
Hey,
tiny
Ryan,
bit.
I almost got struck by lightning taking a photo for you, so it's going to cost you a McChicken.
Oh, no. Vince almost got struck by lightning. Taking a photo. Vince, now that's part of the job, man. Everybody knows that storm chasers are just about more likely than anybody to get struck by lightning. So you almost got struck by lightning, but you didn't. All right, that means you got to go buy a lottery ticket. All right, because you're getting a lot of almosts today. If you get one thing for certain, I think it's going to be that. But look at this, guys. Look at this thing. It's nuts.
I appreciate your enthusiasm and positivity.
Look at this thing. It's nuts. These lights are too bright. That is crazy, guys. A fantastic view of this incredible shelf cloud. Okay, let me come back to the models. I promise you guys we're going to keep looking at this. Actually, you know what? I don't want you to lose it. I don't want you to lose it. So we're going to take him. Like, this is why, who watches the Weather Channel, right? Can they do this? Can they copy and paste like this? Check it out. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, we lost Vince. Oh yeah? All I got to do is copy and paste, son. Do I have a producer? No.
We're just carrying.
I just got myself and copy and paste. That's all I need. Okay, so we can continue to watch Vince Welty while also watching the models here. Let me go back into my explanation here. So we've got conditions favorable for cyclonic rotation and potential tornadoes lighting up right here, and you can see how the actual convection, if I come back to the composite reflectivity type, you see the storms are north of that, right? So the storms could technically tap into, okay, the storms could technically tap into the tornadic parameters, and that's what we're potentially seeing here as we go forward. But watch as I push this forward just a little bit more. Watch how those parameters, or that area of tornadic conditions, I don't want to call this tornado juice, because if I do that, people will end up looking at this model and being like, oh man, there's some tornado juice up here, and that's not really how it works. It only works in conjunction with supporting convection, right? So we've got some pretty high values as this storm system makes it into southeastern Wisconsin. So if this mesoscale convective system taps into that, all right, we could see tornadoes today. But here's another limiting factor. Here's another reason why we might not see tornadoes. This is a linear mode of storms, okay? You can have all the shear in the world. You can have all the ingredients for tornadoes that you could possibly want. But when you have a big line of storms, usually you're not going to get the tornadoes, all right? You're not going to get them. You could have embedded brief spin-up tornadoes, MLQCS tornadoes, but for the most part, you're not going to get the big nasty ones. So we're still going to be watching for discrete supercells to pop up out in front of the main line to promote the idea that maybe we could get tornadoes. All right, so that's basically all I wanted to say about that. Now let's go back and gawk over Vince Welty's footage here, because this is just nuts, man. Nuts. Actually, we got to look at both of them. We got to look at both Vince and Brandon, because Brandon's starting to get it back into view as well. Holy smokes, that is seriously one of the best looking shell clouds I've ever seen, ever. Salone, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Let's see here. Crisano says, hey, can we get a few McChickens? Yes, I'm certainly going to be supplying the storm chasers with McChickens today. All right, they are going to have a plethora of McChickens, especially after they get past this storm here. Once they get closer to, who knows, they'll probably end up driving all the way to Chicago tonight. So McDonald's, if you're somebody that's watching right now and you work at the McDonald's in Chicago on the northern side somewhere, get ready to make the best McChicken you've ever made in your life, because I'm sending the storm chasers there and we're going to get it from you. Yeah, we are going to buy McChickens for our storm chasers today. All right, somebody said that there was a lightning strike on the camera. Did we get a picture of that? Oh yeah, we did. All right, let me show you this. This is on Brandon's feed earlier. Anytime you guys see something like this that's cool, screenshot it and post it on Twitter, and I'll share it. Because I miss it half the time. Man, scanner's a little loud. Okay, I'll turn scanner down. There shouldn't be too much going on anyways.
Go ahead.
All right, I turned it down.
I'm not sure on 173, but I'm going to be tied up here for quite a while. I don't know if
Oh, we got Barry Bones. Barry Bones is watching. The most enthusiastic weather dog in the world. This dog, if you're new here, Barry Bones watches every single stream, and he watches intensely like this. He doesn't. It's not like the owner, like the dog, the person holding the camera says, "Oh, come over here, Barry. Like we're gonna make a video and we're gonna get a lot of shares on Facebook." No, okay. This dog turns the stream on himself pretty much and sits there all day and watches intensely as the stream goes on. Okay, in fact, he was watching so hard one time, there was a tornado on the screen, and the dog lunged towards the screen, breaking the TV. Okay, that's how intense and focused this dog is. Thankfully, they've recently got a new TV. I think we offered to get them one, but Barry Bones said no, use your y'all fund for people who need it. All right. Like, seriously, I'm not kidding. Barry Bones has his own Twitter account, and I encourage you guys to go follow him. Go retweet that. Go like that on Twitter. Remember, I'm Ryan Hall, y'all, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere. Unbelievable. Our number one fan is Barry Bones the dog. Here's another beautiful look at that shelf cloud as it's coming through places in Minnesota. In fact, if you're in Dodge Center, you could probably see the shelf cloud pretty well right now. Of course, we want to keep Vince. Well, they keep, daggone it, they keep turning away from the thing. I know they've got to drive, but Lord goodness, son. This is the perfect example of why we need our PTZ cameras on these vehicles, but we had them and then they broke. Okay, we bought these daggone PTZ cameras. Some of you guys were here to see that, but they broke the first time it rained. All right, let's take a look at everything that's going on here. We got a strong storm coming into southeastern portions of Minnesota. And now what you're seeing, that shelf cloud that we've been looking at, that's the storm that's heading towards Dodge Center right now. Okay, that's going to also go towards Casson and then Rochester. The entire town of Rochester might see a similar sight as we get later on into the afternoon here. But that's the storm that's coming through. There's a severe thunderstorm warning, and it's warned for golf ball size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So if you're in Dodge Center, get ready for that. I think that we're also seeing some pretty big hail north of Rochester up here near Zumbrata and Goodhue. So, even though you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning per se in Pine Island, I would still take this seriously because that's going to be a big one for you. Same thing down here to the south. Albert Lee, Austin, Lansing, Bancroft, all these places in southern Minnesota, you've got a big storm coming, and you probably need to get indoors. You don't want to be near windows during this thing. I mean, Vince Welty was almost struck by lightning. So there's lots of CGs, lots of lightning with this thing. My goodness. Lots of videos coming in. Nick sent this one in. Look at this. Holy smokes. Mothership moving in. This is in Mankato, Minnesota. Thanks for sending that in, Nick. Wow. Zumbrota. I'll get it down eventually. Hey, Avel Ravenhurst, thanks for being a member. She says, thanks for all you do, Ryan. Cobra Kai Man, thanks for becoming a Slight Risk member. And Cub Mutt, thanks for becoming a Slight Risk member. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all the support. Our members actually got access to a members-only live stream the other day, because here's what I'm planning on doing. Here's what I think's going to be cool. All right, this is what I'm thinking is going to be the way that I do this from now on. There are some days when I'm going to go live on this channel no matter what, okay? If there's a big population center impacted by a big storm, if there's going to be a lot of information to relay, I'm going to go live, right? Always. But there are some days where we're watching the weather, there's some severe thunderstorm warnings, but nothing crazy, right? And I don't necessarily think that it's justifiable for me to go live and send out a notification to 500,000 people over something that could be nothing, right? But I'm still up here watching the weather. I'm still in my weather office. I'm still relaying reports on Twitter and all that stuff. So I think one of the things that we're going to do as a perk for members is I'm just going to turn on the live stream for members only whenever I'm in that just waiting mode, okay? And it's not going to be intense. It's not like we're sitting there relaying warnings all day and getting Twitter submissions and stuff. It's just like you're sitting there with me helping to make the decision as to whether or not we should go live publicly, because we want to make sure we maintain the significance of these live streams. I think people, whenever I go live, people are like, okay, something's happening here, and we don't want to be like the boy who cried wolf and go live just for anything. So unless you're a member, unless you just want to be here and hang out, that's going to be something that we do there. So yeah, let's listen in on some mesoanalysis from our resident junior weather analyst, Sean Paul. This guy is great. He says, hello, y'all. The risk of damaging winds remains high across Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin with strong D-Cape, downdraft Cape. Instability and deep layer shear is also present. All the gibberish I just said equals the potential of damaging winds and hail, especially with convection that starts later. Stay tuned to Ryan Hall, y'all. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. Here's a look at the current radar, as well as it's also showing some photographs there. You can see that we do have some curved photographs out in front of the storm here, but for the most part, these are hail wind profiles. Don't see a lot of tornado producing juice out there right now, but we were looking at the HRRR earlier, and it looked like maybe that was going to increase down here once it gets closer to southern Michigan. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Oh boy. All right, thank you guys for becoming members. We got Scott, Matthew, we got Lindsay. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Let's see here. This is near St. Peter, Minnesota. That's a different view. These storms, all of them are incredibly photogenic. All of the storms today are incredibly photogenic. Look at that, man. Holy smokes. I'm retweeting this if you guys want to see it up close. Let's see here. Michelle says, I watch whenever you're live, no matter the area. I'm a big fan and weather nerd. Yeah, it's an idea that we've been tossing up, going live more, even for like lower scale events. But it seems like every time we do that, like sometimes we go live and, you know, nothing happens. Like there's a couple severe thunderstorm warnings, there's a couple wind damage reports, and, you know, we relay all that information. We display all the warnings, we show the radar and everything. But, you know, whenever there's not a lot happening, we got to fill in the gaps with something. And sometimes it's me showing Twitter submissions, or sometimes it's me talking about our website. Sometimes it's me goofing around with the storm chasers. And, you know, it seems like some people, not the vast majority of people, but some people, I guess, get turned off by that. It's like, I got some comments is like, Ryan, it looks like it's not about the info anymore. You're all about entertainment. You're not allowed to have fun while covering the weather. That is illegal. And so I'm just trying to figure out a way to go live more often, but also not rely too much on the entertainment factor, because I know that I know that's not what the vast majority of people tune in for. But we got to do something here if there's nothing going on. Mass Dog, thanks for being a member for 16 months. Wow, 5% tornado added for tomorrow in the Northeast, by the way. Really? Yeah, we got more severe weather coming tomorrow. You guys want to take a look at that real quick? SPC pivotal weather. Okay, so here's today's risk. Can you guys even see that? Here's today's risk. Here's tomorrow's, and here's the next day. So we got an enhanced risk today, slight risk tomorrow, and slight risk over here on the East Coast. So this is tomorrow's risk, a big slight risk. Wow. That's a huge slight risk. Hold on. One of the cool things about Radar Omega is it gives you some information about stuff like this. So, by the way, everybody who's downloaded Radar Omega and keeps asking me for a tutorial, the more you tune into these live streams, the more you're going to learn how to use the app, okay? iOS, Android, there's a link in the description. If you want Radar Omega, the best radar app in the world, download it, follow along. This is how we look at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks on Radar Omega. I'm going to walk you through this. It's exactly the same on your phone. Top left. Actually, let me get out my phone just to make sure. Yes. Okay. Top left. When you open the app, you go to the top left. You click the hamburger, the 3 lines. All right. We're clicking the 3 lines. We're going down to severe weather. All right. We're going to go down to severe weather, and we're going to click it. Now we can look at the categorical day 1. We can flick it on. Flick it on. Now you see how those colors popped up in the background? That shows us where we have a slight risk, an enhanced risk, or whatever we have from the Storm Prediction Center. Additionally, we can look down here and see who's impacted, right? There's 8 million people in the enhanced risk today, and that includes Milwaukee, Madison, and all these places. 32 million in the slight risk, and that goes all the way down to, Columbus, Ohio, Detroit. So that's pretty cool. And of course, you can go into settings and you can change that polygon fill opacity a little bit. So when you first load it up, you're probably only going to see a bunch of lines. But if you turn that opacity up, you can actually see it the same way that I do. And then you can change the border thickness. So you can see how those borders got real big there. You can turn that down as well. I like them small. This is, once again, whenever I say that this is the most customizable weather monitoring app that you can get, I'm not kidding. There's nothing else that'll allow you to do that. All right, so there you go. That's that. Anyways, tomorrow we got 28 million people. 28 million people in the slight risk zone. And we'll definitely be talking about that tomorrow. I don't know if we'll go live for that, but we'll definitely at least have a video about it. Awesome. So here's our storm. This is the one we're watching. The hardest right now. Let's take a look at Brandon's feed. He's got a good view of that shelf cloud again. While I get our radar situated. Got some pretty interesting features here on this storm, by the way. I'm starting to maybe get a little bit concerned about the storm that's moving towards Rochester, Minnesota. Okay, I want you to look at everything. First of all, the shelf cloud that you just saw is associated with the storm that we are looking at here on radar. So if you're in Rochester, Minnesota, and you're looking to the west, you could probably start to see that shelf cloud, okay? If you're high up, if nothing's blocking your view, you should probably see it by now. Probably not going to be fully contrasted. It's not going to look as good as what Vince and Brandon have, but it's getting close. So here's where Vince and Brandon are. Okay, so whenever we look behind them, we're seeing that shelf cloud. Here's an interesting thing. All right, we have a very obvious inflow notch right here near Dodge Center. And whenever I flip over to velocity, you can see that there's actually some rear flank, what looks to me like if this was a lone supercell, an establishing rear flank downdraft right next to the inflow area. So we have rotation here with this storm that's approaching Dodge Center. Yeah, I mean, basically that's what I'm noticing. It does look like to me that this is not necessarily tornadic, and what we're seeing is just a huge area of strong winds coming out of the storm here, just happening to meet up with an area of inflow near Dodge Center. Now, this is something that you have to watch because it could end up rotating enough to produce a tornado, but right now, right now the rotation, I believe, is just too broad to make that happen. But this is certainly something that we have to look for. Whenever we're watching storms like this, you have to watch every dangly bit, okay? If you see a big line of storms and then there's little dangly bits hanging off of it, you have to pay attention to that, because those dangly bits, as funny as that sounds, hopefully it helps you remember it. They interact with the overall synoptic way that the storm works, and a lot of times they'll curl up and produce tornadoes. It's how we get a lot of our quasi-linear convective system tornadoes. This is exactly how they happen. Usually it's smaller features than this, so it's easier to get that area of wind to move around in conjunction with the inflow. But this is certainly something that we have to watch. There's no tornado warning or watch or anything for Dodge Center. However, this is the kind of storm that even at the National Weather Service right now, there is a meteorologist watching this closely, waiting for something to potentially happen that could trigger a tornado warning there. So make sure you're extra weather aware today if you're in Dodge Center, Casson, Byron, and of course Rochester. This storm is moving towards Rochester, Minnesota right now, and we can see how it looks through our live view from both of our storm chasers there. My goodness. My goodness, man, that's crazy. We got a severe thunderstorm warning for Freeburg and Steele counties. Freeburg and Steele counties in Minnesota, and also Olmsted in Minnesota. Those counties are currently under severe thunderstorm warnings. All right, and we're gonna watch this unfold here. Let's see here. Yeah, one of our weather analysts is saying the same thing about this storm that's moving into Dodge Center. It does look like there's some rotation there. By the way, if you guys didn't know, I've got a group of people that help me out during the live stream. We've got a bunch of weather analysts that are monitoring the radar behind me, and they can chime in whenever they think that something significant might be going down. Oh my God, do we have background music? Have we had background music this whole time? Dude, I'm so sorry. Dude, I'm turning that off. I did not mean for that to continue to play. Okay, it's off. It probably wasn't that big of a deal, but I know some people don't like having too much stuff going on. But anyways, we've got meteorologist Heidi and Ben in the background watching this storm, and they're also noting that it's rotating, okay? But it's a broad mesocyclone. What Ben is saying is that he thinks is the warm front, as it moves north towards it, it could possibly get stronger later on. So we're not necessarily looking at an imminent tornado here, but we are looking at a broad mesocyclone that could actually cause some problems later on. All right, so we want to make sure that we stay tuned and we stay weather aware. And by the way, if you guys know anybody in Rochester, Minnesota, let them know, okay? Let them know that there's a big storm coming. First of all, if they're like a weather fan, like if they like clouds and stuff, tell them to look west, because they're going to see that what you see right there on Vince's camera right now. Tell them to look west and see if they see that, and then also tell them that there could be potentially a very small chance of some tornadic activity happening with that storm, so that they should probably pay attention to the weather. Tell them to tune into this stream if they got time. If not, just, pay attention, because something, whether we get a tornado or not, we're definitely going to get some strong straight line damaging winds, and we want to stay away from windows and doors, and we don't want to be outside and all that stuff, okay? Additionally, what else do we got going on here? Let's see. Scanner feed. Let me see. We got somebody listening to the scanner. Okay, I don't think we've got anything going on. We don't have Andy or Carly today because this is kind of like a last minute decision. So I'm kind of, absorbing all of this information for myself. That's what I'm doing now. But at some point we might get Andy to join in with us. Okay, I'm going back to Twitter here. See if we got any new pictures and videos. Oh, here we go. Brandon's got a good one. He got the Storm Seeker in front of the shelf cloud just west of Rochester, Minnesota. Look at that thing. Storm Seeker number 3 there. Looks like it needs a bath.
There's a jetty in that area, Rochester.
Oh, boy. Here's a video from Brandon. Let's see what he's got to say.
Absolutely gorgeous structure on this storm. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous structure on this supercell just to my west. I'm here near Waterville, Minnesota right now, live streaming on YouTube and Radar Omega. Be sure to tune in. But just look at this absolutely gorgeous structure with this storm. It doesn't get much better than this. This is why we chase. Beautiful CG. Listen to this. And this isn't even severe warned right now. Like, isn't that amazing? Look at this, guys. I'm going to flip the camera around. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Everybody, storm
Great
chaser.
shot. Great shot from Brandon Kopic.
He also stated there were cans being thrown out the window and other garbage.
Great shot.
Okay, I'm out of here.
Oh, we got somebody from Rochester looking west. There you go. You see it right there. That's going to get a lot more impressive. I'd set up a camera, get a time lapse of that thing. Get a time lapse of this. This is going to be a very good time lapse.
The suspect vehicle is heading back towards the roundabout.
I'm out with it. It's not going anywhere.
We are watching storms in other states as well. In fact, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings all up and down Ohio right now. Belmont, Gallia, Carroll, Athens, Vinton, Morgan, Jefferson, Allegheny, Beaver, Greene, Washington, Brooke, Hancock, Marshall, and Ohio counties in Ohio are all under severe thunderstorm warnings right now. So we're going to go back and forth between checking those out and then also monitoring our storm up here in Minnesota. We've got our storm chasers on the ground there in Minnesota giving us a visual on that. So we're going to try to stick with this just a little while longer before we abandon it. Oh, here's an update from the Storm Prediction Center. Let's take a look at this real quick. Multiple severe thunderstorm watches are in effect across portions of the upper Midwest and the Ohio Valley, damaging thunderstorm gusts, some over 75 miles an hour, and a few tornadoes. Large to very large hail will be possible this afternoon and evening. So this line of storms is going way further than what I thought it was going to. I thought it would be dead by now. This line of storms, if this follows the trajectory of this one, like if like this one is, I don't know, 3 or 4 times more intense than what it was supposed to be according to models. If this ends up being 3 to 4 times more intense than what it was supposed to be according to models, then we are going to have a busy night on our hands, boys and girls. Very busy.
No, he couldn't see it anymore.
Oh, looky here. We got some generosity. Hold on. Got to show it off. Got to show off the chat here. Crisano gifted 5 Ryan Hall Y'all memberships. Very cool thing that you can do now. People can gift memberships and then randomly, 5 people or however many people will get that rewarded to them in the chat. You got to enable it, though. Very cool. Let's see here. Ryan Thomas says, Ryan Hall, did you just say that Allegheny County is in effect? Yeah, I believe that's for Ohio. Allegheny County in Ohio is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Dawn, thanks for becoming a Slight Risk member. Let's see here. I try to look at the chat as much as possible. Ryan, when the storm hits Wisconsin at 6 o'clock, can you cover Neha, Wisconsin? Yeah, absolutely. I'll be here. I'll be here all evening. Yeah, but big time, huge shout out to Crisano for gifting 5 memberships. That's super cool of you. And then, of course, thanks to Graying Sky for just becoming a member. So a lot of people didn't even notice the music. There was music playing in the background. Oh, man, already 69,000 people without power in Ohio, too. That's going to go up, I think. Already 69,000 people without power in Ohio. Did I make an oopsie? Did I make an oopsie? Hold on. Everybody's freaking out about Allegheny County. On my system, let me show you guys this. Let me show you why I say that. Let me show you why I say this, okay? All right, on my system, right here, it says there's a severe thunderstorm warning in Ohio for Allegheny County. This happens sometimes, though, so let me go over here and inspect it up close. Allegheny County might be in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Okay. My bad. So the program abbreviates it. Let me double check here. This is for East Central Carroll, Southeastern Harrison, Jefferson, Southeastern Columbiana, Northeastern Belmont, Southwestern Beaver, West Central Allegheny, West Central Greene, West Washington, Ohio, Marshall, Brooke, and Hancock counties. In Ohio. Is Allegheny County not in Ohio? What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Listen, I think what people are alluding to is Pittsburgh under a severe thunderstorm warning? And the answer is no, not yet. There are some areas just west of Pittsburgh that are under severe thunderstorm warnings, but it'll get to you sooner than later. I can promise you that. Okay, this is Pittsburgh right here. It's coming.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
We got our first tornado warning of the day. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for Freeborn County, Minnesota. I would just about bet that that's going to be the storm that we've been looking at, that we've been denoting the rotation thing. Let me go inspect it for you. Once again, if you're just now tuning in, we got our first tornado warning of the day up here in Minnesota. Oh, it's actually a little bit further south. It's a little bit further south. This is for Hayward and or areas just north of Hayward in Iowa, or I'm sorry, just off of Interstate 35 near Iowa. So let me get close to that one for you. Once again, let's come back to Vince Welty's feed. Let's really start to inspect this tornado warning. As I said earlier, there are some areas within this storm that are rotating, and they're rotating enough to produce tornado warnings now, apparently. So once again, Freeborn County in Minnesota, take shelter now. We're going to start analyzing this on the radar very soon, as soon as I get it pulled up. Oh, boy. And, of course, it's being slow on me. Okay, here we go. Let's come back to the radar. This is Radar Omega. Look at that. You got the reds next to the greens. Remember, the green shows wind going towards the radar. The red shows wind going away. You get a couplet. You get them touching each other. We got wind going towards and away from the radar in a very similar area, and that's exactly what we're seeing here near Maple Island in Minnesota. Okay, so somebody's saying that warning was kind of loud. It was 2 times your voice at least. Oh, boy. Open volume mixer. Let me fix that for you. Warnings. Okay, I'm turning that down a little bit. Let me know if it's any better next time, okay? All right, so anyways, we got that tornado warning here. And that it does look pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. It does look like we're going to continue to see rotation out of this storm for some time. Now, a lot of times these QLCS tornadoes, these embedded tornadoes, will only produce enough rotation to be considered, meeting the warning criteria for a short period of time. But this one has been carrying for a while, and I think it's a similar situation as to what we were dealing with that storm that Brandon and Vince were closer to earlier. We've got a huge area of wind coming out of the storm, meeting a huge area of inflow, and within that, we could potentially see enough rotation to produce a tornado, okay? We don't know for sure that there's a tornado. This is a radar-indicated tornado, but if I'm in Maple Island, Newry, or Corning, South Hollandale, Moscow, or Hollandale in Minnesota, I would take shelter immediately. And we have to start thinking about the areas in front of this as well, because this storm will affect areas near Austin, Minnesota, Lansing, Brownsdale, and Sargent, Minnesota before too long. Okay, it's going to get to you, and it's going to probably continue to pack a punch. This is what the storm that's approaching Rochester, Minnesota looks like as it approaches the town. Brandon Kopic is now in Rochester, and now that storm doesn't have a tornado warning on it, but it does have a severe thunderstorm warning, okay? And let me read you some of the information about this severe thunderstorm warning. This includes Rochester, Minnesota. Lots of people live in Rochester. We do expect 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. All right. This includes Interstate 90 in Minnesota between mile markers 205 and 232. Hail damage to vehicles is expected, and wind damage to roofs, sidings, and trees is expected as the storm. This is what it looks like as the storm approaches Rochester right now. Once again, no tornado warning with this storm just yet, but it could come. It could come because it's a similar situation that provoked the tornado warning to the south. And that's down to the south in Freeborn County. That same situation could unfold with our storm that's coming towards Rochester. You can see that there's rotation here south and east of Dodge Center. Just a little bit less than what we see down here, okay? This is why they went with the tornado warning down there, and we've got the severe thunderstorm warning up here. So we're watching both of these storms very closely. We're going to see that shelf cloud overtake Byron, Salem Corners over here in the next little bit, and then Rochester, literally minutes from now, you're going to see the big winds come through and the strong damaging winds, maybe some hail as well. Once again, tornado warning for Freeborn County, just to the south down here. We got a big area of rotation moving just past Maple Island, and it's moving towards Corning now. Take shelter immediately. Get to your safe spots. Here's some pictures coming in. This is north of Rochester, Minnesota. So downtown Rochester, this is likely what you're about to see. Big hail there. Looks like bigger than quarters to me. And then, of course, a pretty good downpour at the same time. Once again, if you guys want to send me anything, go to Twitter at Ryan Hall, y'all. If you can do so safely, we'll try to show it here for you. This was in London, Ohio, close to I-70 at 11:28 a.m., and it had fast-moving rotation there. Let me see if there's anything else from Rochester or near Rochester so that I can relay that to you. Once again, Rochester is not under a tornado warning. They are not under a tornado warning. They're under a severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado warning is to the south. Here's a view from out of an office building in Rochester. Check it out. Shelf cloud apparent from my 16th floor apartment window in Rochester, Minnesota. There it is. Man, I really hope somebody is getting a time lapse in Rochester right now. That's going to be a once-in-a-decade view, I believe, of this shelf cloud kind of perfectly overtaking the city. Me, always thinking about the content when it comes to weather. Come on, Ryan. If I was there, I would be making a time lapse, okay? It's just who I am. All right, Barry Bones. Barry Bones is saying, take shelter. Let's listen up.
Warning has been issued.
We got our first warning of the I'm not kidding, guys. This dog, man, he knows what's up. Tornado warning. He starts barking. Unbelievable. Gotta love Barry Bones. All right. We got to get him here in the studio at some point. Maybe, like, you know how, like, they train dogs to, like, know things? You know, like there's drug sniffing dogs, there's therapy dogs, there's, you know, all kinds of different kinds of dogs. You know, I'm starting to think that like a radar reading a meteorological dog is something that could actually happen. And we could make Barry Bones, we could give him a very good job here at Ryan Hall Y'all Enterprises. Looks to me like a lot of the rotation that initially sparked that warning, that tornado warning, has since fizzled a little bit, but I'm starting to get a little bit more concerned about the storm that's approaching Rochester. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I would not be surprised if the National Weather Service didn't issue a tornado warning for that, and it might even include Rochester. I'm looking at some soundings from this area in Minnesota, and it's not that great. We do have a warm front that's getting really close to the storm in question. And it could get interesting about 20 minutes from now. Right around the time that this storm gets into Rochester, it's going to meet up with that warm front. And there's going to be a pretty good amount of convective available potential energy and potentially, you know, some tornado juice there for this storm to tap into. We're also watching the tail end Charlie. Okay, so this isn't the only set of storms that we have today. If we come over here to this radar, obviously we got the storm approaching Rochester right now. Make sure I'm on the right radar site here. Oh, let me load this one up actually. We've got the storm approaching Rochester now. Okay, well, it's got the severe thunderstorm warning with it. But we also have the tornado warned storm just to the south, and now we're starting to see storms fire up even further south down into Iowa that we have to start to watch out for that could potentially produce tornadoes. So that's what we're looking at right now. Rochester's getting ready to get hit by a big storm.
382 Rochester.
SP 382.
We'll come back over here to radar Omega. Once again, this is the area of rotation that we're kind of focused on right now. It's broad, okay? It's a broad mesocyclone. It's not necessarily tight enough to kind of convince me that there's certainly a tornado down, but it's definitely enough to raise an eyebrow, right? So we're watching this closely. And according to what I'm looking at, the rotation goes very high up in the cloud as well. Okay, so we're not just looking at surface rotation or rotation closer to the surface. We are also looking at this cloud or this storm rotating further up into the storm. Which is a sign that, you know, that we could be dealing with this for a while. So once again, Rochester in Minnesota, you're not under a tornado warning, but we do have a tornadic storm with, you know, tornadic features approaching town. So we want everybody to get away from windows, get indoors. If you're outside, get inside, and let's take this seriously, okay? We'll get through this together, and then if there's nothing that comes out of it, then, you know, we'll just, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. Am I right? It's better to be safe than sorry. Let's see here. Samantha, thank you so much for the very generous super chat. She said, Ryan, you have inspired me to make a region weather Snapchat story, and I've gotten so many compliments from it, and I've told them it was inspired by you. Thank you for that. Hey, no problem, Samantha. Love to inspire Snapchat stories. Seriously, that's awesome. Way to go. Way to go, keeping people informed. That's what we're all about here. Everybody that's watching this could be a hero. All it takes is, if there is a tornado warning today, and if we start hollering that there's tornadoes heading towards the town, you are the most vital tool that we have to let people know. People are so desensitized to tornado warnings. The National Weather Service issues 1 million tornado warnings, and only 100,000 of them actually produce tornadoes. It's like the boy who cried wolf, right? People just don't pay attention to them anymore. The only way that I can for sure make sure that people understand the severity of the situation is by showing pictures and videos of the storm, and then also having you guys relay information to people who may not be watching, right? So if you're somebody's friend, if you live in Ohio,
a new tornado warning has been issued.
And you're somebody's friend and you start telling them about a storm that's happening in Minnesota, they're like, why does this guy in Ohio care? Why is he paying attention? That might increase the stimuli that increases the chances that we see somebody take a storm seriously, right? So we got a new tornado warning. Let's check that out. Where is that? Is that just an extension? Was that just an extension of our existing warning? Because I'm not seeing any new polygons here. 7 seconds ago. Tornado warning. Actually, that's in Illinois. Oh, boy. All right, so we got a tornado warning now in Illinois. Let me come down here and show you guys this. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning in Anchor and Cropsey, Illinois until 2 p.m. Central Time. Anchor and Cropsey, Illinois until 2 p.m. Central Time. This is the rotation is near Chinoa right now. It's moving down south towards Colfax. If we zoom out a little bit, you can see this is north and east of Bloomington, Illinois. So now we have 2 tornado warnings in effect. One of them's for McLean counties in Illinois, and one of them's in Freeburn County in Minnesota. I'm going to take you back to Vince Welty. Let's watch this shelf cloud again as I position our radar to where we can have a view of both of these storms here. I want to be able to flip back and forth between them. I'm not prioritizing any one location today. We're going to be equally covering everybody's storms today, and my goodness, look at this, guys. There you go. That's the rotation that has sparked the tornado warning in Illinois right there. Potentially tornado in progress or tornado imminent south and west of Fairbury, moving to the south and east. Okay, one of the things that I always say is you can never trust a southeast moving storm. So, you know, it's a lot harder for a supercell to produce a tornado if the whole thing is moving south and east. I don't have time to explain why, but it's just true. However, there's enough inflow here, and the rear flank downdraft is established enough to make me believe that this could actually produce a tornado here in Illinois. So if you're in McLean County, let's take shelter. Let's take shelter now. And we've also got a considerable severe thunderstorm warning now for Belmont, Columbia, and Allegheny counties. Okay, Allegheny County is in Pennsylvania. All right, considerable severe thunderstorm warning now.
A new
for
tornado
Allegheny
warning
County,
has been
Pennsylvania,
issued.
and now we have another new tornado warning in Illinois for Livingston County. Or was hold on, wait, what's going on? That wasn't for Illinois, was it? That was for Minnesota. My bad. Okay, so now Rochester is officially under a tornado warning, right? Yep. Let me come back to the velocity here. All right, there we go. I'm ringing the bells. The National Weather Service has issued
a new tornado warning has been issued.
Olmsted County, Minnesota, and Livingston Counties, Illinois. Okay? We now have a tornado warning for the downtown Rochester area. If we're in Rochester, let's take shelter now. We have a lot of things happening all at once here. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. But we do have a tornado warning for Rochester, Minnesota. Take shelter immediately. This is what it looks like on radar, okay? If we have a tornado forming out here, it's on the north side of town, south of Rindge. Okay, if you guys know where Highway 22 is, the one that circles the outside perimeter of the city on the northeastern side, the most rotation, at least a couple hundred feet above the ground, is going to be right there. So the tornado, if there's actually a tornado on the ground, it's going to be on the ground somewhere on the northern side of Rochester. All right, and now you can see our pink polygon that's popped up. Everybody inside the polygon needs to take this seriously and take shelter now. Rochester, Rindge, Viola, Chester, Iota, all of these places, take shelter immediately. There's a potential tornado forming here, and it's coming right for you. I'm looking at this one too. This is another really interesting area of rotation south of the city. Okay, that's going towards Salem Corners and Rockdale. This probably also needs a tornado warning on it, and we'll see if the National Weather Service does that here in a minute, but still, that's what's happening right now. We have two areas of tornadic rotation near the city of Rochester, Minnesota. Take shelter immediately. Additionally, we have more than just that. We have a tornado warning down here in Illinois. We're now looking at Illinois, at specifically Olmsted and McLean counties in Illinois. That extra warning that was issued was just kind of like the extenuation of this over here towards Strawn. If I move the radar around a little bit, you can see the dangly bit, right? You can see the area that's potentially causing the tornado here. It just moved past Chinoa, and it's moving to the south and east of Fairbury pretty quick, all right? So we think that there could be a tornado approaching Anchor or Cropsey at any moment. Anchor or Cropsey at any moment. Are we still having problems with the volume of the tornado warnings? Are we still having problems with that, guys? Let me turn it down even more for you. And we'll just have to wait and see what the next one does. We'll just have to wait and see what the next one does. I don't know why it's so loud right now. I really don't. I haven't changed anything. And like, I can barely hear it myself through my speakers. Okay, anyways. This is what it looks like right now. We got a tornado warning up here for Rochester, Minnesota. Take shelter immediately. What you want to do is get into the lowest and most interior room of whatever building you're in. A lot of people might be at work, okay? So you want to get inside, away from windows, on the lowest floor, preferably in a basement or a tornado shelter, and you want to cover your head, okay? If you have the ability to, put them helmets on, okay? We don't know for sure that there's a tornado down, but just in case, cover your head with something and keep me with you, okay? Bring a charged tablet or phone that has the ability to connect to Wi-Fi or cellular data, and keep me with you, and we will get through this, okay? More than likely, there's not enough rotation here to actually promote the idea that there is a tornado down, but it could happen at any moment. All right, so we're watching that extremely closely here in Minnesota. Rochester, downtown, even without a tornado, you're already seeing some of that really heavy rain, some of the hail, and some of the very strong winds move through the town right now. There could be a tornado somewhere in there, okay? If there is one, you're not going to be able to see it. You're not going to be able to see it very well. So don't try to look for it per se, because it's going to be rain wrapped. It's going to be a tornado wrapped up inside of this thing. In fact, we got Storm Chaser Brandon Kopic personally trying to find it right now, and look at how much he can see. If there's a tornado, it's about 2, 3, 4 miles in front of him. You can't see it. All right, you're not going to be able to see this coming, so just get inside, keep me with you, and we'll get through this. Once the storm passes, everything's going to be fine, and we'll get out of our shelters. But for now, let's stay in there. Additionally, we've got another tornado warning down here back south of Blooming Prairie that's about to expire. And then I definitely want to keep you updated on this tornado warning over here in Illinois. All right, if we come back to Illinois, you can see that we have a strong tornadic signature here that's potentially producing a tornado, or a mesocyclone that's about to produce a tornado south of Fairbury. And this is approaching towards Anchor and Cropsey in Illinois. And there is a tornado warning for Livingston and McLean counties. All right, so take shelter now if you live in this area in Illinois. Let's take a broad look at everything. Let's zoom out. Let's understand what's going on here as a whole. This is the main storm system today that we're watching. This is the storm system that is promoting the tornado warning for Rochester. This is a secondary area of storms that are kind of just forming south of Chicago. That's where that second tornado warning is in Illinois. And then we have a third area of severe thunderstorms that's getting ready to go through Pittsburgh, the Ohio River Valley area, and northeastern Kentucky. So let's zoom into that real quick. Allegheny County, Pennsylvania is under a considerable severe thunderstorm warning, I believe, or at least it was at one point. Yeah. Yeah, considerable severe. I don't see that on my end. But here, anyways, the storm is going to bring 60 mile an hour and 1 inch in diameter hail to Pittsburgh. Okay, so we want everybody in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, everybody down into Washington, Pennsylvania, all up and down Interstate 79. This is going to be a very strong storm. You want to get inside, all right? We're talking about 60, 70 mile an hour winds and golf ball size hail. You don't want to be outside or even near a window whenever you got 60 mile an hour golf balls heading towards them, okay? Same thing down here in Ravenswood, 60 mile an hour winds and 1 inch in diameter hail moving down towards Spencer. This is all coming into West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Kentucky right now. And of course, we're going to keep you updated on that. First and foremost, though, we have to keep walking you through this potential tornado in Rochester, where we do have a tornado warning right now for Olmsted County. Let's zoom in on it again and take a look at that rotation, see if we have any more. It still looks like there's certainly some rotation here, and this is where Brandon Kopic is. You see his little icon right there? That's where Brandon Kopic is. If there's a tornado, it's somewhere up here, and as you can see on his feed, we don't see any signs of a tornado, at least from what we can see. Let's talk to him and get an update. Brandon, I know you're busy. It's pouring the rain. But we just want an update whenever you've got it, okay? We can see that couplet is pretty close to your location now. Just let us know what you're seeing. So we're going to wait and see if we can hear back from Brandon Kopic. But if not...
Well, not seeing much right now, Ryan. Just a lot of wind and rain. Very close to the couplet's location. Trying to find a position to get a good visual on it. It's heavily rain wrapped. Going to try and get close enough to be able to see it if it is on the ground.
Okay, so there you go. Storm Chaser Brandon Kopic giving us an up-close and personal view of the storm that's going through Rochester right now. Vince Welty is staying out in front of this thing. Vince Welty is way out in front of it. He's over here. So if anything happens a little bit further south, Vince will be able to give us a video of that. I want to say a super huge, giant thank you to Roger Davidson again, who went ahead and did another $50 super chat. He says, I'll be live tomorrow for the Indiana I'm chasing. Okay, Roger, you're a storm chaser. Sounds good. Freddie has been official sponsor for 5 months. Some massive wind happening here in Cottageville. And Roger Davidson again says we have 2 tornado warnings. One is in Illinois and one's Minnesota. Thank you so much, Roger. Everybody say thanks to Roger for the support. Couldn't do it without people like Roger. Look at this. Rotation is picking up right near Brandon Kopic's location. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as we go forward. Those 2 storms in Minnesota are moving into that uncapped environment, and warm front is pretty much right on top of it right now. These storms are riding the warm front, and in front of these storms, there's an uncapped environment where we have rising instability. We have a lot of high dew points. In fact, it's in the mid 70s, I think, in some places with the dew points. So there's just so much energy out here for these storms to feed off of. They are not going to get any less strong or any less intense as we go forward, okay? We should start hearing pretty soon. If there was a tornado that went through Rochester, we should know very shortly, because I think the bulk of the storm is moving out of Rochester right now, and I don't necessarily believe that we had one go through the town. But we'll see. We'll see. Here's a video of a news station. News station took shelter.
Everyone, get out of the hallway, please.
The moment the sirens went off at the station, Nick Jansen evacuated the studio and got into a safe place.
Echoey here, guys. If you're tuning in,
so I'm assuming he's still live. Hopefully he's still live with you guys. Hopefully you still got TV coverage out there. But yeah, sometimes even the weatherman's got to take shelter. Once again, I'm monitoring Twitter, guys. If you guys have Twitter and if you're seeing anything that you think that it would be interesting for me to know about, tag me in it. Send me videos, send me pictures. Here's a video from the 19th Street, Rochester, Minnesota DOT live cam moments ago. Oh, wow. That's some strong wind moving through Rochester. It's showing some very high winds during the tornado warned storm. Dude, that's some really strong wind. I'd say we're going to get some damage reports. That looks like definitely 60-mile-an-hour plus winds, maybe even more. That's from Rochester. So this is still ongoing. We still have a little bit of rotation here. Brandon Kopic's on it. If there is a tornado, there is nowhere else you are more likely to see it than right here. We've got one of the best storm chasers in the world providing a live feed for us right now on the southeast side of Rochester. He is literally underneath the part of the storm that would produce a tornado if there is one. Okay? So we're going to stick with him. So that storm that's moving through Rochester now is also moving towards Iota and St. Charles in the I-90 corridor between Lewiston and Marion. So if you live there, get ready. Okay, how was that? Was that better? Was that sound better? We got a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for Ford County, Illinois, by the way. Oh, here's a video out of Minnesota. Possible tornado.
To my north currently.
I think that's
These are really waving here. A little wide angle.
But I would need to see above him to see if that's a mesocyclonic feature or not. And it could just be some spinning that's happening, you know, on the front side of the shelf cloud. It could be. All right, let's go back to Illinois. Let's check on Illinois real quick, guys. This is, once again, a tornado-warned storm for Livingston and McLean counties in Illinois. We do still have that tornado warning, and it does look like the rotation is still there. The rotation is still there. Okay, so we're still looking at that couplet right there. If there's a tornado, it's going to be somewhere near Cropsey within the next 5-10 minutes. We don't have any confirmed reports of any tornadoes actually being down on the ground right now. We only have radar-indicated tornadoes. Once again, Rochester's under a tornado warning, but it does look like the tornadic portion of the storm has moved past the town. But now it's working towards Chester and Viola. So we want everybody to be sheltered there. Ethan Chapman is watching the storms with us. He's got the Radar Omega app, and he's got like 15 screens. Actually, I think he's just got 2. But still, very cool. Thanks for following along, man. Thanks for sending in your setup.
Just checking your status.
We got several reports of 60 to 65 miles per hour winds coming out of Rochester now. Guys, once again, if you can do so safely, send me your pictures and videos on Twitter. Here's Girard, Ohio. This is from David. Look at that. That's a strong storm, too. That's from Ohio just moments ago.
Yep, that sounds good. We can go to that next.
Dang. And once again, if anybody didn't see this, this is what Rochester, Minnesota looks like right now. With that big-time wind coming through. And I'm telling you, it's insane to me how widespread this storm system over here in Pennsylvania is, too. Once again, Pittsburgh, you're getting ready to get hit by a pretty large storm. If anybody knows anybody in Pittsburgh, let them know. 60-mile-an-hour winds and 1-inch in diameter hail's on the way. Same thing down there a little bit further south into Washington, Pennsylvania, and Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. Martinsville, let's see here, Harrisville, Elizabeth in West Virginia, Ripley, West Virginia, Buffalo, West Virginia. Get ready. These are some nasty storms over here along the Ohio River. Almost take the shape of the Ohio River here as they bow out and go towards the south and east. I expect that these storms may make it all the way to Somerset, Pennsylvania, Morgantown, West Virginia, Charleston, West Virginia. Get ready because there's a lot of unstable air out in front of these storms. It's 92 degrees at my house. It's 92 degrees where I live. I'm down here in eastern Kentucky. So we got a lot of 90-degree weather out here for this the cool pool of air to advect into, and that will provide lift. So, yeah, get ready for that. Get ready. Pittsburgh for a big storm. Additionally, we've got big storms causing some flooding problems over here in the border between Illinois and Ohio. Let's see here. Some places like Clifton, Milford, and Remington is experiencing flash flooding right now because we got these storms going over the same areas over and over again. And then back here, we have a tornado warning. Okay, we have a tornado warning for Livingston and McLean counties. And then we have a considerable severe thunderstorm warning that includes Fairbury, Forest, and Chatsworth, and that's going to be for Ford County, Illinois, and that's for 70-mile-an-hour wind and 1.75 inch in diameter hail. Okay, that's considerable damage is possible from this severe thunderstorm in Illinois. Okay, so if anybody knows anybody in any of these places, Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Northeast Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, sorry, I called that Ohio earlier. But Illinois, Indiana, or up here in southeastern Minnesota, northeastern Iowa, western portions of Wisconsin, let them know that things are lighting up. Things are lighting up, and they need to take action and pay attention to the weather as we go forward. Let's check back in on our radar here. The rotation that initially prompted the tornado warning near Rochester has dissipated. Okay, so I don't believe that we have any more tornado threat in or around Rochester. We're still under a tornado warning in Viola and Iota, and I want you to stay in your safe spot, but rest assured knowing that the rotation has pretty much gone away. We got a tree down. We got a tree down near Civic Center Drive, northwest and 6th Avenue, northwest of Rochester. I'm going to retweet that just in case anybody wants to see it up close. And once again, guys, tag me and stuff. Whoa. Somebody did it. Somebody did it. Somebody made the time lapse. Dude. Bro, yes, that's exactly what I thought it was going to look like. Thank you so much for making that time lapse. That is super impressive. Watch this thing. Oh, come on. Where'd it go? Twitter. All right, look at this. I want to show this one more time. This is the storm that just went through Minnesota. I begged you guys to make a time lapse. This guy did. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Way to go, man. I retweeted that. Everybody go share that. Everybody go retweet that. And thank you, Stu, for making that.
Engine 15. You want to add us to that truck
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff, yeah. Yeah, it looks like we might have, you know, some tornado threat tomorrow, too. Look at this. Day 2 tornado forecast from NATOcast. All the way up to a 5% there in Ohio and Indiana in that slight risk area. So we might be live tomorrow. It depends on if the Storm Prediction Center decides to kind of increase the threat to an overall enhanced. Oh, we got Spencer Adkins. Whose local weatherman is Spencer Adkins? Is there anybody watching right now whose local weatherman is Spencer Adkins in West Virginia? He is out there in the field today. Let's hear what he's got to say as those storms are approaching West Virginia.
Gust front coming in, the shelf cloud coming in Cabell County. Just out trying to live my best life while working too. With all this remote access. So follow the warnings, follow the radar, check out Viper at wowktv.com/weather. And the warnings are up at the top. That's an ugly looking sky. I gotta hurry up and beat the rain in, but the wind is already here. That's probably 30-mile-an-hour gust. Could be stronger in a bit. Be safe. The gust front coming in.
Spencer Atkins up there filling you in on what's happening with that storm coming into Pennsylvania. Oh boy, we got multiple people making time lapses, man. This is gonna be the most time-lapsed shelf cloud ever. All right, if you're just now tuning in, we got a tornado warning for Livingston and McLean counties in Illinois. We're going to check on that here in a second. We also have a tornado warning for Olmsted County in Minnesota. This is past Rochester, okay? It's still raining, it's still windy in Rochester, but the tornado threat has passed you, okay? The tornado threat has passed you. You don't have to worry about it now, okay? However, there are other places that could be impacted by tornadic-like conditions. In fact, Vince Welty is pretty close to a pretty suspicious looking cloud there. Let's listen in to what he's got to say.
Remember, a severe thunderstorm watch means the conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including large hail and damage.
Hi, you're going to want to get moving that way. Okay. Yep, stay dry.
Severe weather may not be imminent. Persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen
okay, so we're listening into Vince Welty's audio.
Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio.
I just heard one of you guys, one of our viewers, pulled up to Vince to say hi right in front of a potential tornado. Did you hear Vince? He was like, nice to meet you, but you should probably get going that way. You know, at some point we'll probably end up doing a meet and greet, me and the storm chasers and everybody, but it won't be in front of a tornado, guys. If you see these guys driving around in your neighborhood, you should probably drive the other way. All right. So anyways, Vince Welty's near Eyota, Minnesota right now, and you saw what the storm looked like there. Certainly still very intense as it moves off to the south and east. Next in line for seeing this very intense storm is going to be St. Charles, Cummingsville, Chatfield, Hamilton, and Washington. So make sure you guys are ready for this. It's going to be pretty intense. It's going to be pretty intense. Hey, Bud Adkins, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Super awesome of you. Barb Mack and Bub Adkins have both gifted 5 Ryan Hall Y'all memberships. So now 5 random people will be gifted memberships. Everybody say thank you to them. That's so cool. All right. I'm just ingesting some information here. Lots of it comes in during times like this. Yeah, I'm just continuing to look at these. Whoa. There's a good one. Check out this storm passing over Kokomo. Kokomo where? Indiana? Dang. That's a beefy one. That's a beefy shelf. Once again, super happy that you guys are sending in your videos and stuff. It helps me tell the story of what's going on the ground. That's my job, right? Yes, shout out to everybody that's doing the gifting memberships. Obviously, I can't read chat as much when things get busy. Things have kind of very briefly slowed down a little bit, though. We still have a tornado warning in McLean and Livingston counties in Illinois. Let's go check on that again, just to see what's going on with it. Man, it still looks impressive. It still looks like there's something going on there that could potentially cause some problems for the town of Cropsey. So there you go. We still got a big couplet. We still have a classic looking supercell. But remember, it's going to the south and east for the most part, and it's hard. It's really hard for these storms. Oh, sorry, I don't have the radar up. It's really hard for these storms to overcome all of the things that it takes to produce a tornado whenever they're moving to the south and east. Usually when you get a supercell with a hook on it and it's going to the north and east, it's just easier for that storm to establish a rear flank downdraft versus when a storm is moving to the south, especially when it's riding an outflow boundary. So I'm not 100% convinced that there's going to be a tornado here, but certainly a big rotating mesocyclone near Cropsley. Take shelter now. And I wouldn't be surprised if this continues to produce that much of a couplet. They'll probably issue a new tornado warning here soon for Sibley and Gibson. So y'all watch out in Sibley and Gibson as this storm goes to the south, okay? Still got that tornado warning for Rochester in Minnesota as well, but the tornadic portion has passed you, I promise. Nothing to worry about now in Rochester other than maybe you got some tree limbs to pick up out of the yard. And yeah, super huge shout out to everybody that's being super generous today. Let's see here. We got Barb Mac gifted 5 memberships. Bud Adkins gifted 5 memberships. I think Malady did too. I saw that earlier. Yeah, Malady did. So thank you guys for doing that. Joshua, thanks for becoming a slight risker. Emily Pierce says, insane how great the structure is today. Corey Bush says, thanks for the awesome stream. Bill, shout out to Bill. He says, my favorite channel. You guys are awesome. That was a nice time lapse. That was a nice time lapse. Super good time lapse. Update on Pennsylvania. Kayla says, update on Pennsylvania. Do you guys want an update on Pennsylvania? Because I can give you an update on Pennsylvania. If there's anything I can do, it's that. All right, let's zoom out. Give you a broad view for anybody that's just now tuning in. Big storm system turning into a very large convective mesoscale system up here in Minnesota, moving into Wisconsin and Iowa. We got a tornado warning in Illinois, as well as a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings, as we have training thunderstorms down here in Illinois moving into Indiana. And then we got a big line of storms, big line of nasty storms over here moving out of Ohio into Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh, all the way down into places like Bethel Park in Washington, Pennsylvania. We're also seeing this move into places like Morgantown, West Virginia, Clarksburg, West Virginia, Parkersburg. Ripley just got hit. Charleston, you're next. And look, they're actually starting to issue severe thunderstorm warnings on the tail end of this. Look at this, guys. We got a severe thunderstorm warning over here for northern Kentucky, Moorhead. Yeah, Moorhead's included in one, and then also Ashland, Kentucky, I think is included in this other one over here near Grayson. So, because in Kentucky, we got Bath and Rowan, Boyd, Carter, Greenup, and Lawrence counties under severe thunderstorm warnings. Guys, I live down here. I did not think I was going to have to deal with any severe weather today. This line of storms is really overperforming as it moves into West Virginia and Pennsylvania. Okay, so you guys over here, please tune. If you have any friends, family that live over here, let them know what's going on. Share them the stream. Put this stream on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you can. Let's spread the word that things are starting to light up on the radar here. And finally, we have no more tornado warnings. All tornado warnings have been allowed to expire for now. I would probably bet that they could reissue the one for Indiana or Illinois, though. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on that.
Engine 1 is going to clear. There's no hazard at the moment.
I think that the one up here in Minnesota, the rotation has died out quite a bit. We'll probably have to wait for it to recycle a little bit more before we can see a new area of rotation, and it'll probably happen on the southern end of that. But yeah, that's what we're looking at there. Look, severe thunderstorm warning considerable now for Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, Armstrong County, Pennsylvania. Let's zoom into this. Let's get a real close-up view. Hopefully we got a lot of people from Pittsburgh starting to tune in because it looks like it's going to be kind of intense down there. This is a live view from Minnesota, by the way. This is Storm Chaser Vince Welty in Minnesota. We're going to do a full-on update, though, on Pennsylvania here in just a second. Okay, so the storm's moving through Pittsburgh right now. But look at this. I bet there's a good shelf cloud here, too, working into Wilkinsburg and Mount Hall. Pittsburgh is right here, so the storm's just now moving through. The winds are probably at their peak right now, so when the rain and the hail and all that stuff starts over the next little bit, that's when the winds are going to calm down. The strongest winds in Pennsylvania right now are actually getting ready to move into Munhall, McKeesport, Jefferson Hills, and of course down here towards Monongahela, Monessen, and then also Bentleyville, Centerville, California, Brownville, Rice's Landing, and Waynesburg. So you see this area of blue out in front of the storms. This is such a good teaching moment. This is such a good teaching moment, guys. So do you see this? We've been talking about shelf clouds all day, and I described earlier how a shelf cloud happens, right? You get a big thunderstorm. It rains a lot underneath the thunderstorm. That rain cooled air escapes out from underneath the thunderstorm and combines with warm air, and we get these big, beautiful shelf clouds, which we've been seeing all day, right? Now, we can see that happening here in Pennsylvania. We have heavy rain falling out of these storms. It's cooling the air off, and that rain-cooled air is escaping out from underneath the storms and producing an outflow boundary out in front of it. So this blue area, that blue line, there's no rain or anything there. That's just where the heaviest winds are, as that rain-cooled air is escaping out in front of the storm. So we're probably seeing some crazy shelf clouds out here in Pennsylvania as well, but the strongest winds are actually going to be happening well before the rain starts. As you can see, this wall of wind escaping out from under the storms here. And look at what the National Weather Service has done. They've went ahead and issued probably one of the biggest severe thunderstorm warnings I've ever seen out in front of this thing, because they know that nothing's going to stop this from producing wind, okay? You're just going to get randomly smacked in the face with a wall of wind here in the next little bit in Monroeville, or I'm sorry, what is that? Yeah, Monroeville. And more than likely, the thunder and the lightning, you probably won't even hear it yet. That's how far away the parent storms are. So that's some crazy stuff going on over here in Pennsylvania. If you're in Youngwood, Greensburg, Salzburg, Scottsdale, Uniontown, Masontown, California, anywhere east of Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania and southwestern Pennsylvania, you're getting ready to get hit by some 60, potentially 65 mile an hour winds, and it's going to be quite the experience, as it's not associated with the parent line of thunderstorms, as it's produced a huge gust front out in front of it. Back here in Minnesota, let's talk about Minnesota again. We don't have any more tornado warnings, but we still have a severe thunderstorm warning that includes Marion, St. Charles, and Lewiston. And of course, our storm chasers are right here on I-90 near St. Charles, and they are providing us with this view of the storms as they move through. So still strong storms, but honestly, I'm more impressed right now with the storms in Pennsylvania than this system right now. So that'll probably change as we go later on into the day. But that's what I'm seeing right now. Crazy. Oh, did we get a time lapse? Considerable severe thunderstorm warning for Fillmore County, Minnesota now. Whenever the severe thunderstorm warnings are considerable or destructive, that means that the winds and the hail is going to be bigger than a normal severe thunderstorm warning, okay? Ooh. We got a time lapse from Rochester. Look at this. Oh, daggone it. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me do this, all right? Very cool. Very cool. I gotta watch that one more time. So nuts to see that actually unfold. And now that you guys know how it works, now that you know the dynamics of what's going on there, doesn't that make it so much cooler? Or did not knowing how shelf clouds happen make it cooler? Was the mystery more exciting or interesting than the actual science behind it? There's some things like that for me. Sometimes I learn how something works and it's just no longer as interesting to me anymore. Because like not understanding and the mystery kind of made it better. I don't know. What am I even talking about here? But thank you, Nathaniel, for sending that in. That's super cool. Yeah, hit that like button. Everybody that's watching this stream right now, hit the like button just like you would on a normal YouTube video. That helps us get projected into the algorithm so that we can get in front of more people. And we can share this potentially, you know, sometimes in certain situations, life-saving information with people who otherwise may not be paying attention. How many people don't have cable anymore? How many people would just rather watch the weather on YouTube in this format versus on TV with a bunch of pharmaceutical commercials? I have nothing against TV weather. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of people that work in TV and on news and stuff. But, you know, I know what the appeal is to watching it this way. This is the way I would consume it, too. Let's see here. Does that Illinois storm look like it's going to go towards Champaign, Illinois? If so, I need to give the heads up to the wife at home. Let's see here. Champaign, Illinois. So, yeah, that storm that's been producing all those tornado warnings and the considerable severe thunderstorm warnings, it is going to go towards Champaign, okay? But it's going to take a while to get there, and I don't know exactly if it'll be tornadic or even severe by the time it does. So, yeah, heads up, there's a storm coming, but it's not, we can't really look at what it's doing now and say that that's what's going to be happening later. It will arrive, though, probably within the next hour and a half to Champaign, Illinois. Yeah, super huge shout out to Christy for the $25 very generous super chat. K41Y17, thanks for becoming a high risk member. That's super awesome of you. Jason Gibbs says, "What is this a joke? Is this a meme? Do I not understand this? Did I say this today? I know that I've said this before." We have no tornado warnings. Okay, never mind. Everybody just shut up. I think that's a quote from a previous stream where like we had like 80 tornado warnings or something. We finally got to a point where we had no tornado warnings. And then I was like, yeah, thank goodness we have no tornado warnings. And then one came through. And I don't know why I told everybody to shut up, but I did do that. Oh, got some damage. Damage coming in from Kokomo, Indiana. Check that out. Big tree down. It takes some strong wind. It takes some very strong wind to knock a tree down like that. It do. It do. I'm retweeting all that stuff, by the way, guys. I'm also seeing a flooding threat on that line of storms in southeastern Minnesota. It just looks like a slow-moving line, and it's going to train over the same areas over and over again.
We're on scene. Do you need our assistance?
23, go ahead.
Golf ball size hail reported and 70-mile-an-hour sustained winds near the cell in Illinois. So there was golf ball size hail reported on that cell in Illinois with 70-mile-an-hour winds. I'm going to go back to Illinois with this radar just so we can keep an eye on that storm. We don't want it to surprise us with anything here. My goodness, man. Yeah, they will probably issue another tornado warning on that if that tightens up anymore. Huge area of wind, 70-mile-an-hour winds, almost certainly some extremely large hail in this storm. And then, you know, if that rotational couplet can form up any closer together here on the southern side, that will almost certainly produce another tornado warning here in Illinois. So all the way down to Leroy, Saybrook, or Leroy, Ellsworth, Aerosmith, Cooksville, Gibson, and Elliott in Illinois. Get ready, because that one's looking pretty gnarly right now. That storm's going to enter an area of increased CAPE, convective available potential energy, and it could go outflow dominant, though, the further south it goes.
It's not in the roadway?
Let's see here. KD Video Productions, thanks for the very generous super chat. He says, can we check out these storms in Pennsylvania again with a check on possible rotations, too? Yeah, we can zoom into Pennsylvania, but I'm telling you right now, the odds of any of these storms rotating is going to be incredibly low. We're not looking at a tornado threat with these storms as they move through Pennsylvania. And of course, I'm not completely updated on my radar data here, so let me pull that back up, and then let's take Radar Omega over and check out the storms in Pennsylvania. But first, let me pull up Vince while I get my radar situated again. Also, huge shout out to Wayne Branson for the very generous $20 super chat. You guys are being super nice today. Dude, my radar is not uploading. What?
Truck 42, structure fire, 5617, 22, Avenue Northwest. Truck 42, structure fire.
Okay, so once again, Radar Omega. How many people have Radar Omega? Raise your hand in chat if you have Radar Omega. Have you downloaded it yet, iOS or Android? It's in the description right now. You can get it for both. You can get it on a tablet, phone. Don't matter. It's the best radar app there is. Let me show you how to use it. I am currently looking at the radar in Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. In fact, I'm specifically looking at the KARX radar in La Crosse. See the little green dot there? See the little green dot? That's the radar that I have right now. How do I move? I can only see in a circle here. What's going on over outside of the circle? Okay, look at all these other dots. You see that gray dot? If I click on it, now I am on the Milwaukee radar and I can see what's going on around it. Or I'm down here south of Bloomington. I can see that if I'm looking at the Illinois storm, right? So I want to see what's happening in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to go to the Pittsburgh radar. I'm going to click it. And that's what's going on. Okay, so we have a huge outflow dominant area of winds and rain moving through. And if we go to the velocity, you can see that there's almost no rotation anywhere. It's just all wind going away from the radar. All right. And even if there was, it would be very insignificant because this is not a tornado kind of storm. Okay. It's not a tornado kind of storm. This is an outflow dominant system, and we're just talking about winds. Not even a lot of rain with this, okay? The winds are going to be the main threat as these storms move through Pennsylvania. And what could actually happen is that this outflow area, this gust front out in front of the storms, could get so far ahead from the rest of the convection that the whole thing just kind of fizzles out. If this gets too far, if this goes too fast, it could kind of fizzle out, because remember, in order for this to be strong enough to provide lift, in order for that cold air to continue to lift warm air up above it and cause storms, there has to be an ample supply of cold air, or else the cool air will just diffuse and become warmer, because it's freaking, you know, July in Pennsylvania. So the more area, or the further out in front of the storm that this gust front gets, the less likely it is that it will produce new convection, because it's getting away from the source of cool air. So, yeah, these storms back here will obviously die out with time, and they will stop adding fuel to the fire if that gust front gets too far away from them. So we could see this start to fizzle out here pretty soon. Also, if you're watching Radar Omega, if you're following along in the app, you can go down here and click high-res reflectivity. Let me check on my phone. Let me make sure it's the same thing. Yeah, so on the bottom right, you can see high-res reflectivity. You tap on it, and you can go to velocity, and that's how you look at the rotation. So let me come back to the storm over here in Illinois, and right there you can see that the green is stuff going towards the radar, the red stuff going away. We have a rotational area right there on that storm, and that's why we're concerned about it maybe producing a tornado at some point. Maybe. Just maybe.
An engine or two can take care of, but there's an active...
No problem, Stacy. Thanks for being a member. Corey Eubanks, Cody Eubanks, thanks for becoming a member. Tornado Chaser, thanks for becoming a slight risk member. Appreciate y'all. Very supportive group today.
Engine 1 from dispatch.
And yes, Nader Beans is on sale today. You got 10% off Nader Beans on shopryanhall.com. If you use, oh, I don't think there's a code. It's just if you use it. If you just go to the website and get a thing of our Nader Beans coffee, it's $18 now instead of $20. No code. Okay, cool. Nader Beans. Going through Twitter again. Look, another time lapse. I'm telling you, this is the most time lapsed storm ever. Ever. Nice. Very nice.
Dispatch from engine 1.
I'm jealous. You know what? You know what? I might be able to time lapse a daggone shelf cloud today too if these storms keep it up. It's not likely that they'll make it all the way to me, but if these storms make it down, I don't know, that far, I might be able to go outside live here and do some backyard storm chasing for you.
Engine 1, if you wouldn't mind checking with them on Ops 8.
It could happen.
With Minnesota Energy.
Oh, here's another really ominous picture from Rochester today as that shelf cloud approached. Lots of people saw that today, I'm sure. Here's a picture from George, and he says, a tornado hit Piqua County, Ohio, or Pickwick, Ohio, without warning earlier today. I'm thinking that he's probably referring to that as a tornado. And let me go ahead and explain to you why that this didn't get warned. It's because that's not a tornado. Okay, what you're seeing here is this is a shelf cloud. All right, this is a similar situation as to what we've been looking at all day, but the storm, the area of cool air that's producing the warm air rising over it curves, right? So I can't really draw in 3D, but the storm is curved. So you're seeing the shelf cloud turn away from you, and actually it looks like it might be getting infiltrated with some rainfall over here. So this is a shelf cloud or a roll cloud or something like that. This is not a tornado. I can almost tell you without any sort of, like, there's no doubt in my mind that that's not a tornado. Usually in a situation where you're going to see a tornado, if you see something touching the ground, a lot of the times it's an SLC, okay? It's a scary looking cloud. That's all it is. But sometimes if the rotating area or the column of clouds or air that's touching the ground, that people, if you think it's a tornado, if it's attached to a mesocyclone, sometimes that is an actual tornado, and it's hard to explain without any video. So hopefully we don't see any video of any real tornadoes today, but I'll explain that if we do. Oh, look, we got a cat. We got a cat watching too. Miss Moochie, Miss Moki, I hope I'm saying that right, is also a radar expert and says you're doing a great job. Love it. Love it. That's a beautiful cat. Great photo too.
Dispatch, get down for it.
Oh, we got people actually, a bunch of people just went over to the site and got coffee. Thank you guys for the support.
Dispatch engine 3.
Go ahead.
Occupant is on the elevator. Engine 3 is available.
Copy.
Woo! Another good view of the shelf cloud. Huge, man. It's so huge. Can you imagine being a farmer anywhere in the world, like before Twitter existed, right? And it's your first time seeing this. All right, you're out in the field, you look out into the distance and you see that. What do you think it is? You don't know. You've never seen it before. You don't know anything about weather, or you've seen clouds before, but never one like this. What do you think? Sometimes I imagine, we had a bunch of Indians for a long time before the American came here from Europe, and a lot of them settled in Tornado Alley, right? Like, what did they think tornadoes were? Just imagine seeing that without any context. Imagine seeing a tornado or a shelf cloud or a solar eclipse without any context. Like, what in the world do you think's going on? I just can't even imagine what it would feel like. Hey, speaking of the website, Chiefs Kingdom went over to shopryanall.com and got him a Weather Daddy hat. That's cool, man. Thanks so much for the support. It looks good too. I haven't seen that one in person yet. That's so cool.
Yeah, my one moment on the 911.
No way. Brady says, Ryan, this is my tornado tattoo I'm getting today. Tornado tattoo? Dude, you gotta keep us updated on that. I want to see that when it's finished. That's nuts. Ah, tornado tattoo. You gotta really be a weather. You gotta really be a weather daddy. You get a tornado tattoo. That's so cool. Real quick update on the radar and everything that's going on. We don't have any tornado warnings right now, but we got a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings, especially as this line of storms approaches places in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Kentucky. This is going to pretty quickly fade out and fizzle out, though, because the driving force, the rain-cooled air is getting a little bit too far away from the actual precipitation, so the whole system is going to come to a collapse, more than likely over the next 30 minutes to an hour. But we're still going to see some strong winds near Charleston, east of Pittsburgh, and in northeastern and eastern areas in Kentucky. We've got a really strong supercell thunderstorm over here in Illinois that's been causing some problems, and it's continuing to move south. We can get an up-close look at that on Radar Omega, and you can see that this thing is still big, it's still beefy, it's still causing all kinds of problems with big hail out there, and the latest velocity returns are a little bit less impressive. It looks like the rotation inside the storm has gotten pretty broad, which is not necessarily what you would want to see if you were looking for a tornado. Up here now, up in southeastern Minnesota, the storm that we've been watching for the longest time that Vince and Brandon Kompic are both in front of is still not doing much, okay? It at one point produced 2 tornado warnings and a bunch of straight line damaging winds, and now it looks like it's weakening a little bit, and a lot of juice is being transferred down to this other storm to the south. Look at this, the one that's affecting northern portions of Iowa is really cranking here near Northwood, north of Waterloo, moving towards Osage and Riceville in Iowa. This is going to be a big storm with potentially golf ball size hail and 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. So that's what's going on right now. That's pretty much everything that's going on right now, except for, you know, we are seeing some more storms pop up over here in Kentucky. I'm watching this closely, man, because I live down here, and if we get a cool looking cloud, if I have an opportunity today to see a shelf cloud, I'm going to go see it. I'm going to go see it. And you can see really what I'm talking about. Look at how far in front the gust front is from the main convection now. So we'll see what happens there. I've got a feeling that that's going to continue to dissipate, though. I've got a sneaking feeling it's going to continue to dissipate. Why is there no watch for Wisconsin? There is. There is. My graphic system here isn't doing the best job. I think that there is a watch for this part of Wisconsin, but there definitely is for Toma and areas west of Madison. Everybody in the red box there is under a tornado watch.
We're going to active fire in a tree that got struck by lightning and fell onto some power.
I guess that we could just use Radar Omega for that since it's way better anyways. Severe thunderstorm watch. Okay, actually, no, like there isn't a tornado watch for this part of Wisconsin yet, but there will be at some point. It's just up here.
2112, I'll take 2131 spot at domestic.
Nicole Skipper says, tell me you're from the South without telling me you're from the South. Leroy. You know what? I caught myself in the middle of doing that earlier. You know, I was referring to Leroy, Indiana down here, south and east of Bloomington, and I did call it Leroy. All right. In my neck of the woods, that would be the name of it. Even if that's the way it was spelled, it would be Leroy. That's how we would say it. I'm from Kentucky down here. We get a lot of funny mess ups like that. It happens often. But thanks for the super chat there, Nicole. Tell me you're from the South without telling me you're from the South. I got a lot of moments like that, I'm sure. What color tables do you prefer on Radar Omega settings? Ooh, good question. Good question from Bradley Connor. You know what? Let's get into it, son. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of Radar Omega. Now, this is high-level customization. You don't have to worry about this if you got the app. But you can go in. I don't know if this is this might be like a higher tier subscription thing, which is fine. Obviously, this is not necessary. You get everything, the one-time purchase with Radar Omega, you get everything you need in the app. But there are extra things that you can pay for. I think that this is one of those things, and that's that you can go into radar settings and go into color tables and actually upload your own .pal color tables. And you can Google color tables online. I use Viper HD. for my reflectivity. And that's what I like.
Dispatch, Marshall 4. Marshall 4, go ahead.
That's what I like.
Copy.
Let's see here. What else we got? Zachary says, hello from South Jersey. Stay safe and never stop chasing. Absolutely. Zachary's been a member for 4 months. Hope to see you guys again. Zach says, Sterling, Illinois, do I need to watch for storms today? Yeah, you do. Don't obsess about it. Don't get too worried about it. But yeah, there's going to be storms all over Illinois today and tonight. Paul Andrews is watching from the UK. What's up, Paul? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what do we got going on here? Tony's been busy. Oh my God. Hey, I always say, make the best out of every negative weather situation. If it's flooding in your yard, go slide around in it, man. Why not? That's so cool. Let's see here. There was a report in West Virginia of a half of a 12-inch apple tree knocked down, fence blown down, and moved a few feet. Smaller maple tree knocked over, and a piece of a roof was blown off. Huh.
And truck 12, engine 16 will have you on.
Why am I not getting reports? Storm reports. Why do I have these turned off, man?
AIC repeater, part of the Central Ohio Radio Club.
Okay. I got to turn back on now. Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of wind damage reports coming out over here from this section of the storms. So like the wind that's getting ready to go through Charleston, I think it's a little bit weaker now, but up here closer to the river, that's where we saw the tree fall down. We got a report from a 1-inch tree limbs being down in Magus County in Ohio. Also, lots of damage reports coming in from around Pittsburgh. We got 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. A report of a large tree down near Baldwin. Also a report of tree limbs down in Collier Township in and around Pittsburgh. But notice how the reports kind of stopped coming in the further this storm goes down. That's why they're not issuing the big severe thunderstorm warnings down here in Charleston now, because we don't expect that those are going to continue to be severe thunderstorms. This is really fizzling out pretty fast as it goes off to the south and east. Let's see here. We had a 70-mile-an-hour wind report come out of McLean County. Train spotter there. Still waiting on this one to potentially produce another tornadic signature as it moves south. And then obviously a lot of reports up here in Rochester, 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and then numerous trees blown down in downtown Rochester. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Meigs County, my bad. Got a video from Ryan Trickett. Make sure you guys include your locations when he's in.
Here from these storms that's been coming from Ohio.
Oh, Ohio.
Come into West Virginia. We're in north central West Virginia. And here's the footage of the storm coming in so far. Right now we have mostly just the winds picking up and very cloudy. So we'll be seeing the storm here here soon. It may be different than what people have experienced in other areas such as Ohio, Minnesota, and whatnot, but so far this is what it looks like right now. So just bringing it to you, Ryan Hall, y'all, and thank you very much for what you do. I enjoy your YouTube channel. I follow you on Twitter as well.
Awesome, man. Reporter Ryan Trickett in Ohio with that awesome as live. Thank you so much, man. That's so cool. People are asking if they can get the Radar Omega color tables. You can Google it. You can find it, but I will put it in Discord. I'll put it in Discord. If you guys are on our Discord server, let's see here. Yeah, go to Discord, go to the weather lobby, and I will put it in there. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. All right, let me find it first. Viper. Open file location. Viper HD. Hold on. Wait. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna put it in Discord. One of our moderators pinned this. If you guys want your radar color tables in Radar Omega to look like this, like mine, I've got the Viper HD color table going in right now, and I'm pinning it to Discord. And of course, everybody in the server is freaking out. I stream. Guys, go join our Discord server, by the way. We've got all kinds of cool stuff in here. Important weather updates. Of course, we got the weather lobby. It's just a big chat room about weather. We got the tropical weather system. Look, we also have a big voice chat area. We got a lot of people talking in the voice chat. And yeah, it's just there's like 11,000 weather nerds in there. It can get pretty nerdy sometimes, though. It's not very casual. There's some really like smart people. Obviously, we have a bunch of meteorologists in there. We got a lot of young storm enthusiasts, but it's cool. It's a great place to learn. All right, so that's where that is. If you guys want to go check that out, and you can download the Viper HD thing there. Oh, what's Vince got going on? Oh, Vince is... Oh. Yeah, there's a link to the Discord server. There's a link to the Discord server in the description, and they're putting it in chat, too, I believe. Vince might have a little bit of a wall cloud here. Look at this, guys. So, Vince is in Minnesota. We'll come over here to the radar. Look at this. Talk about a prefrontal storm. Vince is here. He's looking this way. Could be the beginning stages of a mesocyclone there. Doesn't look too impressive on radar. Something's happening.
Severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Winona County expiring at 8:30 p.m.
Sorry, guys, if that's loud. Is that too loud? Turn him down a little bit.
Today it can be different.
It is not tornado warned, no. All right, I'm going to mute him. It is not tornado warned. Can you reduce the Chasers channel to where it's just me, you, Brandon, and Vince? Somebody did it. Somebody did it. Somebody made the time lapse. Dude. Bro, yes, that's exactly what I thought it was going to look like.
Miles per hour with gusts and quarter-size
Sorry,
hail.
guys. I'm doing some stuff
Now
in
under
the
a severe
background.
thunderstorm warning here.
We're going to listen to Vince. Oh wait, here's a storm in Pennsylvania.
Been rotating or moving away on either.
So that was in Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, right there. It's discord.gg/Ryan Hall, y'all. We've been going for 2.5 hours. I got to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'm going to leave you with this. And what do you think? This?
Came down, took down the power line and crushed a car. Now it's laying across the power lines across the roadway.
I don't really like that, but it'll have to do. And I'll let you listen in on Vince.
Northern Iowa. That one's for Winnebago County.
Be right back.
Iowa. And also Worth County. We're looking to the south-southwest. There is a little bit of circulation trying to happen on radar back in there, but it's buried in the precipitation. We can't see it. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of it here as it approaches. Keep an eye on this for a minute. Like I said, I know we can't really see a whole lot because everything's buried in precipitation, but
Severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Liberty County expiring at 8:15 p.m.
was definitely more impressive when we were near Rochester. I did put a couple of photos on Twitter so far. I'm going to tweet out a drone picture real quick here. You guys are on my Twitter. I don't have a way to show it on stream, unfortunately.
A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Houston County expiring at 8:30 p.m.
The National Weather Service in La Crosse has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Houston County in southeastern Minnesota until 3:30 p.m. At 2:47 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from Rushford to near Canton, moving east at 50 miles per hour.
Storm right here.
Expected hazards include 60 miles per hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. The following impacts are expected. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Severe thunderstorms will be near Houston around 3 p.m. Spring Grove around 3:05 p.m. Caledonia around 3:10 p.m. La Crescent and Holga around 3:15 p.m. La Crosse around 3:20 p.m. New Albin around 3:25 p.m. Other locations impacted by these severe thunderstorms include County 16 and Four Corners Drive, Perkins, Mound Prairie, Brissaford, County Pike and Peyton Road, Money Creek and Newhouse. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Repeating, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued until 3:30 p.m. for the following county: Houston, Minnesota. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 3:15 p.m. for Fillmore County. At 2:31 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Gainesville to 6 miles northwest of Lancaster.
Okay, I did post that drone footage or photo here. It's a real low resolution preview, but it's something. Alright, I'm looking at data right now.
Guess who's here? Andy's here. Andy's here. I just sent him an invite to our group. So next time I need to take a break, he should be there. Andy, what's up? Can you hear me?
I can. I got you, Ryan.
How are you doing?
Well, here's the story, okay? I went Aurora chasing last night.
Oh.
And there wasn't a lot of thunder to wake up to this morning in the Twin Cities Metro, and that's why I'm here now and not 2 hours ago.
What did you see anything good last night?
Nah, I missed the peak by 30 odd minutes, something like that. And but we have a really good camera, Canon R6, and we took some long exposure shots and at least got some faint green light in the distance, possibly air glow or possibly the remnants of the aurora.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
But yes, but beyond that, there is something that our analyst team has been noting. Me just getting down here now and seeing it in a rush near Rushford, Minnesota, and southeast Minnesota. It is not tornado warned, but David and others were pretty confident that there was a pretty transient, so a light CC drop associated with the cell. You can play it back a few frames to see the frames and see if it's see if you can talk about it. It happened in a low reflectivity area, so I'm a little bit suspect of it, but generally anything over 20 dBz is accepted as a CC drop or a viable one if it co-locates with the velocity couplet.
All right. We're checking it out now, and yeah, it looks, I mean, I don't know what in the world else that would have been. Just to the north and west of Rushford there. Potentially, real quick, brief tornado lofted some debris into the air there. It looks like it was probably, if anything was down, it lifted before it got into Rushford, thankfully. But that's something that we'll probably deal with quite a bit as we go into the future with this thing. And we're going to see a lot of quick spin up QLCS tornadoes as it goes through La Crosse and then into western portions of Wisconsin, northeastern portions of Iowa. And the more linear this thing gets, I think the more we'll see that. But right now, this one cell, this one very outflow dominant Boeing cell, kind of takes on the appearance of a supercell. And if the southern side of it gets a little bit more organized and it's like its own thing, I think that this storm could absolutely be tornadic, especially as it enters a more favorable environment in Wisconsin. However, I do think that by the time it gets to the area where tornadoes are most likely because of all the ingredients to come together in the right way, it is going to be completely linear at that point. So it'll be a lot of stuff like that we see, and it's hard to warn for that. It's hard to give you a heads up. Even the National Weather Service a lot of times will miss stuff like that. So that's why it's important to take every severe thunderstorm warning today extremely seriously, especially if it's associated with this system right here, this one storm that's going to turn into a mesoscale convective kind of system as it moves through Wisconsin later tonight. It's currently 3:55 p.m. on the East Coast. We're going to be dealing with this all the way through 10 p.m. at least. And probably by the time that storm makes it over Lake Michigan, we'll probably call it a night, even though we do expect that it will continue to cause problems into Michigan as well. It just depends on how intense those problems look, I guess, by the time we get there. Severe thunderstorm warning just north of me here in Kentucky. This includes Louisa. Getting close. I'm going to have to get my phone ready and Discord set up so I can stream myself walking outside again. But, yeah, severe thunderstorm warning moving down into eastern Kentucky, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and 1-inch in diameter hail. Also, the line of storms that's moving through West Virginia is weakening, like I said that it probably was going to. Charleston, you're getting hit now. No severe thunderstorm warning, but there are still severe thunderstorm warnings all the way out here into places like Collinsville, Pennsylvania, Morgantown, West Virginia. This line will continue to fizzle out. The part of the line that has the best chance of continuing is the southern part, actually, because there's not as much of a fleeting gust front out in front of these storms. So there's still an opportunity for the convection that's happening here to cause lift right in front of it, causing new storms and allowing it to continue to propagate to the south. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. No tornado warnings. Only severe thunderstorm warnings, but we do have a couple confirmed considerable severe thunderstorm warnings in Illinois and Minnesota. That's going to be for Fillmore, Minnesota, Ford, Champaign, and McLean counties in Illinois. Let's go check in on Illinois again. These look pretty nasty. This looks pretty nasty right here. And we had somebody asking earlier if this was coming towards Champaign. And the answer now is yes. And it does look like it's going to be a considerable severe thunderstorm with 60 to 70 mile an hour winds and maybe up to 1 3/4 of an inch hail in diameter. So we're going to be watching that closely. When the lights turn green, that means we got to talk to Andy. Go ahead, Andy.
Hey, Ryan, again on that Rushford cell in Minnesota, southeast Minnesota. That's about 1,400 feet above ground level from the ARX radar. And now there's a pocket of 90 mile an hour winds showing up in the velocity there. So I'm pretty concerned about that area, possibly a sort of a kick up of the RFD, since it was a tornadic circulation earlier for our best knowledge on radar. So I think that RFD is surging somewhat as it heads towards Houston County in southeast Minnesota. And regardless of whether that's tornadic or not, that's going to be some very powerful winds entering that area. So that's they're under a normal severe thunderstorm warning. The considerable ends just to the west. So I'm pretty concerned about those winds in particular related to the current warning.
All right. Thank you, Andy. This is what he's talking about, guys. This is this big area of wind moving into Money Creek in Houston. It could be seeing a little bit of an RFD surge, and we could see another situation where we get a quick spin-up tornado that comes out of this. Obviously, we don't know for sure whether or not that's going to happen, but heads up, if you're in Money Creek, Houston, Southridge, all the way over to close to La Crosse, okay? This is getting ready to cross the border between Minnesota and Wisconsin, and it'll happen somewhere near La Crosse. In fact, Storm Chaser Vince Welty is getting ready to cross the border on I-90 into Wisconsin here soon. Storm Chaser Brandon Kopic is a little bit further behind, and he's in the storm. In fact, just moments ago, he was in some pretty blinding rain. But you can see that's what it looks like there near New Hartford in Minnesota. These guys are moving east. They're trying to stay in front of this thing, and they will likely continue on I-90 towards Bangor and Sparta and Toma in Wisconsin as this thing continues to go to the east. Definitely a very interesting structure on the storm here. If we come back to the radar, we have a big Boeing segment here near Houston. We have what could be considered as an inflow area here near Money Creek. And then all of that potential like RFD surge back here. This right here could be a very brief opportunity for another spin-up tornado. Just like Andy was saying, we have to watch that very closely near Money Creek. But as of right now, it looks like the main threat's going to be a widespread damaging winds from Houston all the way to South Ridge. Make sure you're indoors, away from windows and all that stuff. You don't want to be caught out in that, that's for sure. Let's come back down to the Indiana storm real quick. Big supercell storm, big nasty one. Coming through Gibson City right now. It's going towards Champaign and Urbana. And this is what it looks like on reflectivity. If we look at the velocity, there's not a lot of rotation anymore. The whole storm is rotating. Like literally the entire thing does have some very broad rotation, but it's not anything crazy. Not like we were seeing before. Like I think the main thing now is certainly hail, flash flooding, and damaging winds. That's what we've got to worry about out of that. Let's come back down to Kentucky. My neck of the woods. Big strong storm moving through Louisa right now. That's going to continue to drop south. Very unstable down here. As long as there's continued lift, we'll probably see a storm here where I am. Same thing down here in Pennsylvania, and now getting into the panhandle of Maryland. This line of storms is moving into the Cumberland area, moving out of Morgantown into Oakland. Let's see here, Indiana and Pennsylvania. You're going to be getting it next. But once again, the vast majority of this portion of the storm has really fizzled out. You can see that we were getting a lot of wind reports, wind damage reports in and around Pittsburgh. That stopped coming in as much, and I really do think that this is, for the most part, fizzling out a little bit. We're still going to see some strong winds if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's not anything crazy. This storm looks more and more concerning with every frame, especially on the reflectivity. I don't see as much to get it, worked up about. Well, I don't know. Actually, now that I look at that again.
A new tornado
There we go,
warning
yeah.
has been issued.
They just issued a tornado warning for this. So since it's been a while since we've had a tornado warning, let's ring the alarm again. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for Houston County in Minnesota, and it's for this right here. That right there, that's the area of rotation. And once again, I just saw this, and the frame before this wasn't as concerning, but then when I saw that one, it's kind of lining up perfectly to potentially maybe produce a tornado there. And also, if you look at the correlation coefficient, not 100% sure on this one, but that could be a sign that we actually have some, grounded rotation there. Not confirming it, but certainly something to look at as this is moving towards La Crosse. Okay, we're under a tornado warning in Hoka, Houston, and Money Creek, and the warning ends right before it gets to La Crosse. But this storm could pack a punch all the way into the La Crosse area. So once again, if you're in Houston County, Minnesota, take shelter now as you are under a tornado warning. And more than any other tornado warning that we've seen today, this is the most concerning one. This one almost certainly has a huge, big rotating mesocyclone with it, and we could have an imminent tornado. Additionally, even if there's not a tornado, there's some crazy winds moving through Houston right now that's almost certainly going to cause damage throughout the entire tornado-warned area. If you're in Hoka and you're looking to the west, this is probably what you see right now. This is a great picture from Vince Welty from the big shelf cloud earlier. But inside of that, because you're not going to be able to see it, this would likely be a rain-wrapped tornado. Inside of the storm somewhere, there could be a tornado developing. So we want you guys to be getting into your safe spots. We want you to get into the most interior room of your house, preferably a basement. If you don't have a basement, get into an interior closet or bathroom, whichever one has less glass, wherever you would be close to. And just kind of hunker down, wait this one out. Keep me with you on a tablet or on a phone, something that has cellular connection. And as soon as that warning's allowed to expire, we'll let you know, and you can come out, and it'll be fine. Like, as long as a tornado isn't down with this is going to be a bad storm, but you've seen it before, okay? So I don't have any confirmation on whether there's a tornado down or not, but we're going to assume there is so that we're better safe than sorry. Storm chasers Brandon Kopic and Vince Welty are over here on Interstate 57. Nope, sorry. They're on Interstate 90, and they're getting ready to come down into the crosshairs there where they will be in front of the storm and actually be able to give us a view of whether or not there is enough rotation there to maybe suggest that there's going to be a tornado. Now, don't get me wrong. They're not going to be able to see it either unless they get super close, but they are going to be in the general area where they need to be to see something. Tornado warning for Houston County, Minnesota. Take shelter now. Once again, if you guys are anywhere along this big mess of storms, whether you're in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, or Minnesota, feel free, if you can do so safely, to send me pictures and videos of what's going on. I'll share them here on the stream. This is from Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania earlier. You can see those winds whipping around.
On the vehicle might be hard to tell.
I'm going to get back into my stream deck. Okay, there we go.
2112, go ahead.
Yeah, big nasty supercell here. Look at that. Hold on. Let me come back to the radar here. That is a crazy velocity signature. Moving right into the greater La Crosse area now. Once again, Hoka and La Crescent. You got to take shelter. Watch it. You can see it curl up. You can see the swirl and the reflectivity here as I rock this back and forth. Right there is your tornado potentially. And every frame that we continue to see that drop in correlation coefficient continues to suggest to me that could be a tornado on the ground right now. I'm going to take Radar Omega up here just because we can see a little bit better where like the roads and the towns are. Right there. There could be a tornado near Highway 9 south and east of Money Creek now, pretty much riding along Highway 21 towards Hoka and South Ridge and La Crescent. So if anybody knows anybody in La Crosse, Wisconsin, La Crescent, Minnesota, or Houston, Minnesota, anybody, if you know anybody out here, please let them know what we're doing and that we're covering this live. You can see, if you're following along on Radar Omega, you can see the icons for Storm Chasers, Brandon Kopic, and Vince Welty. They're right here. Okay, they're going to be literally right in line to intercept this tornado south of La Crescent if it continues to produce a tornado. So we'll be able to see it right here if there's going to be one. And that would be, basically, we're going to be able to give you eyes on the ground of exactly what the storm's going to be like right before it gets into La Crosse. So once again, make sure we're sharing this everywhere. Let's try to get the word out to as many people as possible. And yeah.
New information.
There we go.
This
They've
tornado warning has been upgraded.
National Weather Service has upgraded this warning now to a confirmed tornado in Houston County, Minnesota. Confirmed tornado now. Let's go ahead and update our storm chasers just in case they don't know. Hey Vince, I don't know if you've heard yet or not, but the storm that you're on just got updated to a confirmed tornado. Hey Brandon, confirmed tornado with this storm. Confirmed on the ground. All right.
Yeah, I saw the CC drop a few minutes ago, Ryan. I'm going to get there shortly. I'm going to take 14 down. If you look on your map, south of La Crosse, 14 kinks and then goes back to the northeast. There's a big clearing there. I just told Brandon to go there also. There's a nice overlook. Should be able to get a visual on it.
All right. So that's Storm Chaser Vince Welty near La Crosse. And literally, he's in the perfect position to where if this thing continues to produce a tornado, we'll be able to see it. It does look, it does look the slightest bit less impressive now on the last scan. But nevertheless, this thing is just packing the biggest punch you could possibly pack with wind on the southern side of this. Look at this. This down here, this is going to go through La Crosse, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some 70-plus mile-an-hour wind gust reports out of that. That's crazy. Go ahead, Andy.
Hey, Ryan. I actually think there are two separate areas of a correlation coefficient drop, and one of them is probably associated with that pocket of super strong winds that might be our RFD. It's tough to tell now, and it could even be a rear inflow jet at this point. It's sort of bowing out some, but I actually think those winds, they're only 900 feet above the surface there and showing up at 115 to 120 mile an hour velocity scan here. And I think those winds are powerful enough to mix down to the surface and actually pick something up. Granted, that pocket of winds went right over Houston, Minnesota. So it's very possible some tree branches, some light structures were picked up by those powerful winds and shown in the correlation coefficient, in addition to that CC drop more north of the path of the town. So I think we might have had a tornadic circulation pick up some debris and an extremely powerful pocket of winds feeding into the tornadic circulation also pick up some debris and show up on radar. So it's a very unique situation.
Okay, thank you very much, Andy. Yeah, long story short, a considerably strong storm with embedded tornadoes possibly, and just very strong front side winds is getting ready to come through La Crosse in Wisconsin. And it's going to be a tornado or not, it's going to be a dangerous situation because these are the kind of storms that really pack a punch with wind. You can see it on radar. You can see the Boeing segment down here. You can see the just huge rear inflow, or the rear jet here just kicking that forward into the warm, unstable air out in front of it. And this is just the perfect situation for a bad wind situation that's about to unfold in La Crosse. Additionally, we have that area of rotation on the northern side of that, and we saw what I believe is a correlation coefficient associated with the tornado, a brief tornado that was likely lofting some debris into the air. That looks like it's since dissipated a little bit, but we're still looking at an insane area of very strong winds that's getting ready to come into La Crosse.
Tower just went out, so there's some wind damage.
That was Brandon Kopic. What did he say?
And the tower just went out, so there's some wind damage.
What? He doesn't have service, so I can't get back with him. We'll ping him back here in a second. But Brandon and Vince both are incredibly close now to intercepting this storm. Vince specifically is going to be right on the front side of where some of those strongest winds are coming in. And I don't know if we're still dealing with an imminent tornado situation as much as we are just a huge wind problem here in La Crosse. So let's we're going to get ready either way because it's going to be pretty serious. Here's an update from the Storm Prediction Center. Slight risk of severe weather added to West Virginia, and eastern Kentucky as that big Boeing line of storms is still pushing through. I still believe that those storms are going to weaken over time pretty quickly, actually, but there is still a slight risk all the way down into Virginia, and we still have an enhanced risk of severe weather up here in Wisconsin into Michigan for later tonight, associated directly with this line of storms that we're looking at here. This is still a tornado confirmed warning. However, I can't confirm that there is still a tornado down. It doesn't really matter, though. As quickly as this happened, it can happen again as it gets closer to La Crosse. All right, so let's just brace for impact in La Crosse for 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, potentially even a tornado. Just going through Twitter again.
Dispatch from 42 North Command.
It was a memorable.
Copy, engine 5.
I think this is in Minnesota. There's no audio with it.
Copy, patient transfer.
Oh, there we go. Got another doggo watching. When the warning starts
Ryan,
going off,
somebody
it gets
told me my
serious.
audio was breaking up with you. When I went through the town of La Crescent, power went out.
Oh, okay.
Something I imagine is out there doing damage.
Okay, Brandon's saying that when he went through the town of La Crescent, the power went out. So the power's out in La Crescent. That might, I mean, that's probably almost certainly going to happen in La Crosse too. It just depends on if these winds continue to be as intense as what they seemingly have been as they went through Houston. You will know very shortly here as we continue to watch Vince and Brandon. They're getting ready to drive right into the mess. Once again, severe thunderstorm warning, considerable severe thunderstorm warning for Houston County in Minnesota and the La Crosse and Vernon counties in Wisconsin.
Engine 1, CO alarm, no illness, 44.
Severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for portions of the Mid-Atlantic until 9 p.m. A line of storms entering the region will continue to pose a risk for wind damage as it progresses generally eastward across the watch area.
Dispatch, engine 3.
Engine 3, go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to start paying attention to our storm chaser feeds here because they're both getting ready to take a direct hit from this storm as it goes through La Crosse. They're both in La Crosse right now. I'm going to ask them if they're going to let it hit them. Are you going to let this thing hit you, or are you going to try to stay in front of it? Talking to Vince.
We're going to let it hit us. At least I am. Then I'm going to head down 14 toward Madison.
All right, they're going to let it hit them. So we're going to see the full impact of the storm here in La Crosse through Brandon and Vince's feed. We're also continuing to see stuff come in through Twitter. This is 2 miles north of Mahomet in Illinois. This was taken recently. That's a very impressive looking signature there. I'm going to have to fix something real quick. Give me just a second. Okay, that should do it. Okay, cool. Go ahead, Andy.
Hi, Ryan. So latest scan that is at the end of 15 minutes past the hour has a 90-mile-per-hour pixel, and that's basically 200 feet above the surface. So it is definitely mixing down right into La Crosse. So La Crosse is probably about to, if not experiencing that at the second. But if you are in La Crosse and it hasn't happened yet, then I would suggest getting in your storm safe spot. These are powerful enough winds close enough to the surface that we're confident that there will be wind damage in this area. I'm confident in saying that. So La Crosse, make sure you're in your severe weather safe spot right now. Tornado safe spot, even better.
Yeah. Yeah, just go ahead and treat this one as if there is a tornado warning that is going all the way into the La Crosse area. In fact, the tornado warning that was issued back in Minnesota has been allowed to expire, but we still have this tornado-like wind event that's about to occur in La Crosse, and we want everybody to be safe. Get to your tornado shelter, and if you want to see what it's going to look like, we should have a view for you here from Vince and Brandon here in the next little bit. They are very close to the front of this thing, so we'll see something very soon. Once again, they are in La Crosse, and we're just seeing. I've just got so many videos coming in of this shelf cloud. It's hard to just pass them up. I've got to make sure that I like them all so that we can go back and look at them all. But this has literally been one of the most photogenic shelf cloud events that I think I've ever seen. Just for so many people. Like, obviously we've seen some good shelf clouds, but like this one or these ones have been seen by so many people, and we've literally gotten hundreds of videos of it in. Okay, so there you go. Brandon is very close. Brandon and Vince both are very close, and look, we're starting to see a little bit of greenage on this storm as well. This is something that the last big derecho that we tracked, or the big windbag that we tracked, the storm was green, and on Brandon's feed at least it looks green again as this is approaching La Crosse. Brandon is currently now to the south and east of La Crosse, so he's actually pointing back the camera to the west of La Crosse. So if you're in La Crosse, this is now overtaking the town. You're starting to see the wind and the rain come in. Vince and Brandon have moved out in front of La Crosse just a little bit. Here's a full screen view from Vince as we continue to see that come through. Very ominous clouds back there. Very ominous. But let's look at them both at the same time and just, once again, we're bracing for impact in and around La Crosse. Severe thunderstorm, considerable severe thunderstorm warning for Houston County, Minnesota, La Crosse and Vernon County, Wisconsin. And then we've got a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for Champaign and McLean counties in Illinois as well, which that's another storm that we've been tracking for a long time. And we'll check back in on it here in a minute. But first, oh, wow. You see that big cloud to ground lightning strike there right in front of Brandon? That was very close, too. Ask him how close that was. How far away was that bolt from you? It looked insanely close on the stream. So, oh, I just heard thunder. I just heard thunder right here in good old Eastern Kentucky. Temperature has dropped from 93 to 86 in the past 15 minutes. I don't know if we've got a pop up that's just popped up on top of me or
Too
what?
close for comfort. Let's just put it that way.
What do you say?
Too close for comfort. Let's just put
Too
it
close
that
for
way.
comfort. All right, so coming back over here to the web, Sean Paul. Sean Paul says, incredible stuff from the La Crosse hodograph, large streamwise vorticity and incredible storm relative inflow lead to what we are seeing with the line.
I think it was close enough to launch a brown trout.
So this is what the hodograph looked like in La Crosse. So that explains why we're seeing the rotation that we are seeing. Curved noodle. All right, let's come back to the map. Vince and Brandon are both getting ready to take a direct hit from this very strong line of storms. I honestly think that they've positioned themselves now a little bit too far to the south and east, where some of the strong winds are actually going to maintain to the north of them. But still, nevertheless, here we go. Let's get some audio on Vince.
Hear the wind out there. Winds are not as high as expected at the moment. Partially probably because we're in town. But you can hear these power lines right here.
So Vince and Brandon are taking the front of it right now. Let's come back over to the radar. Let's explain why the winds are not as powerful as expected. Watch what happens here. We had an incredible area of elevated winds over here near Houston. That almost certainly mixed down to the surface as it was coming over towards La Crosse. This is the part of the storm with the strongest winds. That actually went through downtown La Crosse. And then on the southern side, Vince and Brandon are both experiencing a much more subdued version of whatever you guys got in La Crosse. So the winds were likely probably double in La Crosse than what we just saw from Vince and Brandon there. Still impressive stuff. Still very strong storm, capable of producing power outages and downing trees and all that stuff.
Further south on 52. He believes it exited on 37th Street and they are not near each other anymore.
Here's a big shelf cloud earlier today in northwest Ohio at 10 a.m.
No conduct, just pointing a gun at him.
Yeah, I got to check the radar where I am because I keep hearing thunder.
I ran both plates, possible plates, and neither one comes back to a gray BMW station wagon.
Ah, I see. Yeah, little pop-ups all around us. This storm up here is still severe warned, and there was actually a report, multiple trees down across roads up here near Blaine in Kentucky. So this, as it moves down towards Paintsville and Prestonsburg, Inez, and Warfield, it'll probably continue to cause problems. I don't know if it'll make it all the way down to Pikeville, but we're going to watch it nevertheless. Let's come back over here to Pennsylvania, check on this storm real quick. It's really let up. It's really let up a lot, but we still have that precautionary severe thunderstorm warning issued out in front of it just in case. Pretty good storm still in West Virginia, though, as they've entered a new area of instability. So some of that cold air from the dissipating storms up near Charleston have finally, made it past the old destabilization line, and now it's kind of entering a new area of warm air that it can lift into the atmosphere to produce storms. Not sure what's going to happen with this part of the line, but I'll be watching it. Let's go back to the map. Still looks green. Looks very green inside the storm up there in Minnesota. How are things looking for Madison, Wisconsin? You're under an enhanced risk of severe weather. This line of storms that we're watching right now will eventually make it to you. And we expect that it will actually probably try to get more intense on its way there. So, yeah, you'll expect some thunderstorms later this evening. Brooks, thanks for becoming a moderate risker. Cameron Campbell, thanks for becoming a slight risker. I appreciate it. We're currently looking at a live view of Vince Welty and Brandon Kopic in La Crosse, Wisconsin, as a pretty strong storm is moving through. You can still see a lot of those winds are just now starting to become evident. Like on the front side, they were a little bit underwhelming, but now you can see that it's actually a pretty strong winds moving through there. He's just to the south of La Crosse, just to the south and east. This is what you can expect in Holman and Bangor and St. Joseph's, Shelby, Coon Valley, and Middle Ridge in Wisconsin over the next 20 minutes or so as the storm is coming right towards you. Do you think there's going to be tornadoes tonight in Michigan? Probably not. There's certainly a chance for tornadoes from Wisconsin all the way into Michigan associated with this storm, but probably not. Oh boy. They're watching us in the metaverse. Ryan Hall, y'all, you're on Alt Space Virtual Reality. They're watching us in the metaverse. We're everywhere. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead, Andy.
Hey, Ryan, we have a good precedent to believe that ARX radar is likely suffering, if not down right now, as we can't get new scans. But there was an 80-mile-per-hour wind gust recorded in La Crosse, and that headed straight towards the radar site. So hopefully it didn't go down, but we might have lost data from that. But our sayings of a powerful wind gust mixing down into La Crosse have verified already. As you could probably see on the storm chasers perspectives as well. That makes total sense why we're not getting radar updates now.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, actually, the deeper these guys get into the storm, the more intense the winds are. And if we pull up Vince's camera full, you can see that, even just 5 minutes ago when we were looking at his camera, it was not quite this. So some of so this is actually going to last a while, maybe up to 20 minutes in La Crosse, as the winds are going to continue to be sustained at a high level all the way until the rear jet kind of gets through there. So let's get Vince's audio again. I don't know if we'll be able to hear anything because I kind of want to hear what he's saying, but at the same time, I feel like it's probably going to be hard to hear anything, so we'll keep it at that. Looks like Brandon's now in the heart of it. Lots of rain, lots of very strong wind gusts. I'm not seeing any hail. Let's ask Vince. Vince, are you seeing any hail? Any hail associated with this?
No, none yet.
No hail yet. So that's good news, at least. But there could be hail once he gets even deeper into the storm there. Well, some of the higher reflectivity returns are actually still to their west, so we'll see what that's like as that moves over them. Yeah, it's a green storm, guys. I thought, we had the Hulk derecho. What was that, a couple weeks ago? I don't know what we're going to call this one. The Hulk's taken. But this is almost just as green from what I can tell. Austin Arnold, thanks for the super chat. He says, "Hey Ryan, Country Thunder Music Festival is going on in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. Are you able to give timing on when the storms would be arriving?" Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. I got to Google where that is. I don't know. Okay. All right. So that's in extreme southeastern Wisconsin. So the storms will make it there. What was it festival called? Country Thunder Music Festival. I don't know when the headliner would play. Country Thunder Music Festival.
Just north of milepost 19. Had somebody pull some branches off the road. There's a few left.
I'm trying to get timing. Lineup.
15:30.
So what is today? Is it Saturday? It's Saturday, yeah. Okay, so looks like Morgan Wallen is the headliner at 10 p.m. next to Hardy at 8 p.m. So I think that all these other guys are fine. I think you'll be able to see Eddie Montgomery, and then by the time Hardy comes on, that it might start getting a little bit like time to get out of there. Let me pull up the HRRR. Let's look at the simulated radar to try to give you a better idea of what the timing is going to be like there in Wisconsin. Okay, yeah, so pretty much exactly what I was thinking. Let me bring you to the models. I am going to hide this, and I'm going to show you what's going on here. So time and date's above my head in Eastern time. Keep that in mind. But it does look like around 8 p.m. Eastern, so I guess that would be 7 p.m. Central. That's when the storms are going to make it to you, according to the HRRR. Now, add 30 minutes or take away 30 minutes from that. There's obviously room for error for the HRRR to be wrong. But yeah, right around 7 p.m. Central, you're going to get the storm come through, and it is going to be a doozy. I don't think they're going to be able to have a concert during that. That's certainly going to bring some 60, potentially 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts through that area. So hopefully everybody that's down there at the Country Thunder Festival, hopefully they're watching, or you can go running around and tell everybody what's up. But because I don't think that they have actually issued a severe thunderstorm watch for that portion of Wisconsin yet. They haven't. So, even the event people there might not 100% know what's going on here. So, right around 8 p.m., 8 p.m., there's going to be a pretty strong line of storms come through. I doubt Morgan Wallen is going to be singing any country songs tonight in Wisconsin, at least not in front of an audience. Large one, anyway. All right. Back to the green storm, which is in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Ooh, Melody Metz had an amazing shot of the shelf cloud today. I'm going to share that. Melody Metz, once again, probably my favorite storm chaser. Don't let Brandon or Vince hear that. But she does an incredible job being there and then just getting really high quality footage and videos and pictures and stuff. Hey, look at this. B gifted 10 Ryan Hall Y'all memberships. Everybody say thank you to B, because I'm pretty sure I saw that earlier too. I think you did that earlier as well. So 10 random people have gotten a membership. Look, Star Bixry, Laura Nelson was randomly gifted a membership. 10 of them. Thank you so much. That's so cool. Yeah, it's amazing. Weather sirens are now going off in Cashton, Wisconsin, and the severe thunderstorm warning is extended going into Monroe County. Yeah, it does look like La Crosse is down or something, right? Go ahead, Andy.
La Crosse radar is actually updating, Ryan, and because of that, we do have an actual correlation coefficient drop just northeast of the radar. Vince is due west of it, trying to catch up with it, but our analyst team has noted it and confirmed it. The rotation's really weak, but it's right along I-90 to the northeast of La Crosse, and we know this because there's a CC right next to the radar. There is also a lowering of ZDR there, so we are able to confirm that CC drop in that area. I don't see it on the next scan. Well, I see the CC drop, but I don't see the velocity couplet yet. Hasn't updated. But I do believe that there was a brief tornado just northeast of the La Crosse radar.
All right. Thank you, Andy. I'm going to relay that information to Vince. Vince, I don't know if you're looking at radar right now or not, but there is what looks like a correlation coefficient drop just to your east, maybe just a little bit to your south and east, as there could have been a brief tornado there right near the radar. Just giving you a heads up. I don't know if you saw that or not.
No, I did not. I'll take a look at it. There's a lot of small debris down here, too, so lots of small branches down in La Crosse. Could be possibly related as well. We're getting hammered in here. It's ridiculous.
So Vince is getting hammered.
21, 23, or 2. Stand by now.
Yeah, and Vince is also saying there's a lot of tree branches and small debris in La Crosse. And Vince is going somewhere. I don't think that he would be going through the path of that CC drop or that potential tornado there. But you can see, if I flip over to the radar full, you can see very clearly how we had another instance of the curling up motion there, the potential tornado, and it literally went right over the radar. I think there was probably a tornado down right there, and then it has since lifted though. But we still have the correlation coefficient drop there, so interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. We'll see what happens as Vince continues to go east towards West Salem. By the time he gets to West Salem, if he's going the correct speed, he should be able to get in front of this thing and let us know what's going on there. Got another view of this insane shelf cloud today. I can't believe how photographed this was. Once again, probably the most photographed shelf cloud ever. But yeah, there it is again in all of its glory. Probably seeing something similar. Actually, you know what? You're probably not seeing something similar in Westby in front of this storm that's moving through La Crosse right now, because there is so much mess in front of it to where any sort of shelf cloud is probably getting obscured. We got a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for Gosper County, Nebraska. Look at that.
We're code 4. He doesn't need us. If we get any more calls about a white male, long shaggy hair, we can disregard. He's now throwing shoes at us, so we can't help him anymore.
Copy.
Yeah. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to pull up a couple different new radio feeds.
1502, add me to 1506.
I just want to make sure that we've got everything covered. We're going to listen to the Midwest Amateur Severe Storm Tracking Response Center in Wisconsin.
Getting strong northerlies right here, Ryan. In reference to your last comment about that CC drop, I just find that interesting. We were getting prevailing winds from the due west, and now they're northerlies and northeasterlies, so it's almost like we're in inflow here, possibly seeing that embedded supercell.
All right, guys, so that was professional storm chaser Vince Welty. His location is right here. Okay, so there's Vince, there's Brandon. They're right behind each other. And the area of concern that we were thinking that there was potentially a tornado earlier is right in here. So they're lining up to intercept where that tornado would go, but I don't know if it's still there or not. Of course, it could recycle. A new one could form. But as you can see, tornado or not, the storm's pretty intense there where Vince is and where Brandon is. And it's very green. It's very green. The green storm. This is live. Yeah, this is live from West Salem and Onalaska, Wisconsin. A few minutes ago, Storm Chaser Vince Welty had this shot of the shelf cloud as it came in.
1176, this is Monroe County Skywarn Net Control.
Wow. It looks even, like every time I look over at Vince's, it looks even greener. Oh, have you guys seen this from yesterday? Lightning struck a windmill thing, and it was, this isn't the video that I saw yesterday, but there was a video, I guess right after it happened, to where there was smoke coming out of like the top of it, but it was still rotating like perfectly, and it was just creating this like spiral of smoke because the wind was blowing through it. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But yeah, that turbine's done for. Uh-oh. Brian Cody. Brian Cody. He gifted 5 memberships. Everybody say thank you to Brian Cody. Once again, it's random. I can't control who gets them. He can't control who gets them. It's just whenever they do this, 5 random people who have enabled it will get added to the membership club. So thank you so much, Brian. That's super generous of you. Oh, here's a look from Champaign, Illinois, of that big storm that's coming in. You can see the shelf. Let's actually check in on that storm in Illinois, because I'm curious as to how strong it is. I don't know if it's gotten any weaker, if it's still showing the same signs it was earlier. So actually, it's gotten a lot weaker. It's kind of split into 2, and the part that's actually going to impact Champaign is dying off quickly. So that's interesting. Oh, what's going on with Vince here? I don't know if that's something like on his windshield or if there's something protruding out of the cloud there. It's like he's on a different planet. Look how green it is. Oh, I just got a big thunder. Like my whole house was shook. Oh man, I hope it don't lose power.
These severe thunderstorm warnings are for 70-mile-per-hour winds, so take that very cautiously if you're in the path of these things.
Okay, we're gonna mute.
70-mile-an-hour winds, especially with.
We're gonna mute Vince, and we're gonna come back to the map view. We're gonna continue to watch this green storm as it comes through Wisconsin. So here's the thing, right? I'm pretty sure we saw a tornado go right near the radar site there in La Crosse, but that portion of the storm has since occluded, and it's no longer a problem. Now we have to watch this part. Okay, this is gonna happen. It's gonna be cyclical as we go throughout the evening. This now is going to try to punch up into the inflow, and it's going to curl up and maybe try to produce a new tornado up there near Leon, Melvina, maybe even up there towards Sparta and Norwalk. Okay, it's not happening yet. It could not happen, but we're watching out for the potential for this to kind of carry on with the pattern that we've seen, where this is going to try to rotate up here. So right now, just a severe thunderstorm warning. No tornado warning, but we're watching it. We're watching it very closely for potentially another tornado situation to develop there. But you can see, if I play that loop for you, you can see how much momentum this thing has gained, and it's trying to start to dive to the south now. It's trying to finally turn into this big wind bag that it was supposed to be as it moves into southern portions of Wisconsin. Madison, you're in line for this. Mouston, Baraboo, Richland Center, Dodgeville, all the way down there towards Elkhorn and Waterford, where we're having that country music festival. It's coming for you. You see that last little bit, little turn down to the south? We're going to see more of that.
Ryan, I just had a bolt legit strike like 50 feet in front of the car.
Oh, man. Brandon had a lightning bolt 50 foot in front of the car. Did anybody see it on the stream?
I don't think so. I think I should be good.
Can we get a screenshot? Okay, it's pouring the rain here now. Sorry, guys. I know we're doing this. We're paying attention to this, but I've got to go look at the radar at my hometown. I want to see what's going on. Oh, okay. Oh, boy. So if anybody's watching, I don't know if we have any local people watching, any people from Kentucky, especially Eastern Kentucky. But if anybody's watching, what I'm seeing happen here is we've obviously got a lot of unstable air, a lot of instability down here in and around Pikeville. We've got this outflow boundary coming up and actually instigating new storms that are almost stationary here, producing a lot of rainfall, and they're not going to move until this main feature kind of plows through them. So, yeah, that could cause some flash flooding around here, guys. Make sure you're prepared for that if you're in a flood-prone area. Now, let's go back to Wisconsin, where we're watching this potential tornado situation unfold. And here's another breathtaking view of this shelf cloud that we've been seeing all day. This was in southern Minnesota earlier, and this is White Weather Storm Chaser on Twitter. Just an absolute beautiful shot there of this storm, which at this point looked blue. Now it looks green. So, yeah, that's still an amazing shot, though. If you want to see that up close, White Weather on Twitter. White Weather on Twitter. Yeah, it's pouring the rain here, guys. Oh, we got a screenshot. We got a screenshot of the lightning bolt. Oh, that was very close to Brandon. That might have hit a car in front of Brandon. Hey, it's hard to tell, but it looks like that bolt might have actually struck a car on oncoming traffic in the other lane. I don't know, a couple 100 feet in front of you. I could be looking at it wrong, but that's what it looks like to me.
I couldn't tell, to be honest. It blinded me. It was that close. But I did set the DVR on my stream so it could be rewound. And I could see, I really don't like lightning. I know my dash camera got it. I'll have to go through that tonight.
I just saw my power flicker. Hopefully we don't lose internet. Oh, by the way, tons of people are gifting. Tons of people are gifting. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Let me show you this real quick. Say hello, chat. You're on TV. B with the 10 memberships. Lenny B with the 5 memberships. Gettysburg gifted 5 memberships. Jimmy's been here for 2 months. JB Gibson says thanks for going live today. And Amelia Black gifted 5 memberships. So 5, 10.
You just keep this stream up because this lightning isn't, it's not letting up. terrifying.
We'll pull his stream back up here in a second. But, yeah, thank you guys for the support. I think during this stream alone, we've added 100 new members to the stream or to the channel just through gifting. So that's very cool. It used to, you couldn't do that on YouTube before. Yeah, it's super green out there. And there are no like effects. There are no filters. Like this is like just straight through the camera what it looks like. Brandon the Lightning Chaser. Carter Airing sent me a tweet saying my sister refuses to turn this off. It ain't that bad, is it? You can hang out with us and your sister for a little while. Oh, here's an up-close view of that bolt. Thank you guys on Twitter for being so resourceful and helping out. That could have very well hit a car back there. Could have very well hit a car. Oh, here's an even better view of that. Nuts. Super green. It does look a lot more green on my TV. I'm watching this. Well, I'm not watching this, but TikTok is watching this on my TV over here, and it looks way more green on my TV than it does on my computer monitor. Currently, there are no tornado warnings. No tornado warnings anywhere. But we do have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. We got a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings up here in Wisconsin associated with this nasty storm that's coming out of La Crosse now. It's going to move to the south and east towards Baraboo along I-90 and I-94 towards Madison and Milwaukee as we go later on into the evening. We continue to see severe thunderstorms down here in Illinois approaching Champaign. Lots of flash flooding issues back here in between Illinois and Indiana, by the way, as we've had these storms kind of train over the same areas over and over again. Our big line of storms that's moving through West Virginia has gained a second breath of life as it's moved into the more mountainous regions. It's still nothing crazy, but it's definitely something. But the northern part, the part up here in Pennsylvania, has let up quite a bit, okay? So we've got a big severe thunderstorm warning now that encompasses Harrisonburg, Virginia, Front Royal, Petersburg, Romney. Actually, that's a severe thunderstorm watch, but there are multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in here near Petersburg and Romney. So we might see this thing continue even further than what we originally thought. Remember, the idea is that if that outflow, if that gust front goes too fast and gets too far ahead of the main area of convection, the entire system falls apart because there's no source of cool air to provide lift anymore. That was happening earlier, and that's why the northern part of the line is really fell off. But the southern part is maintaining a healthy structure, and it's still producing rain and hail and wind all the way down now into my neck of the woods here in eastern Kentucky. So that's what's going on there. We also have a bunch of summertime pop-up thunderstorms in Florida, down into the deep south, Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina. Just a couple random severe thunderstorm warnings here and there. And it is just absolutely pouring the rain here. It sounds like something bad is happening outside. Oh, that's a nice setup. Backs of us. Very nice. Making music and watching the stream. Hey, quit what you're doing. Trash this file and make us a Ryan Hall Y'all theme song, man. We've even got the newborns watching. Oops, I got my daughter hooked on the live stream. Yeah, a lot of people are sending me pictures from inside of the metaverse. Apparently, we're all over the metaverse right now. Oh, look, meteorologist Spencer Adkins tweeted at me. He said, watch for street flooding from Inez to Pikeville. These prolific rainmakers are sitting and spinning. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I'm dealing with right here, guys. It literally is raining super hard outside. I asked earlier if we had anybody from Eastern Kentucky. Oh, I hear hail. All right. I'm going to have to go get like a video of that or something. Andy, you got me for a second?
Yeah, I got you, Ryan.
All right. I'm going to go get a video of this hail. I'll be right back.
Good luck. Okay, guys. I do have stuff to talk about, actually. We've been monitoring the southwest Wisconsin storm. There have been a few interesting slots along it that our analyst team is watching, particularly of interest near Lafarge, which was affected last month on June 15th. That was an area that saw a few tornadoes, and now there's a wind pocket headed right into Lafarge. You might see an area, or that area might see some enhanced gusts really quickly here in and around Vernon County, Wisconsin. So if you're in Lafarge, get ready for some severe winds to come through your area. In addition to that, something that hasn't gotten coverage from us yet is in southwest Nebraska, where surface temperatures are around 105 to 110 Fahrenheit, which is hot. And there's storms popping. That is really interesting to me. I can't remember the last time I've seen storms popping in a 110 Fahrenheit environment. So pretty impressively, of course, those storms are going to have an inverted V profile for their temperature. It's just going to skyrocket. Rather, it's going to go way down as you go up in the atmosphere because the surface is so hot. So those lapse rates are extreme. So air is rising very rapidly. And that means that we also get very rapid downdrafts. So severe wind and hail already showing up in the southwest Nebraska into northwest Kansas area, and some really impressive surface temperatures. So I wanted to point that out. And again, sorry y'all, I wasn't here for the start of the stream. If you guys are still here from the start and you saw I wasn't there, it's because I went aurora chasing. That's my bad. I saw a bit of the aurora here in central Minnesota, so that was my first one. You have to give me a pass for my first aurora, right? I appreciate it. But I am watching chat. Good to see you all. If you are in southwest Nebraska or northwest Kansas, it's pretty rural out there, but I would like to hear from you given storms popping in this unusual environment. In addition to that, I'd love to hear from you if you're in Wisconsin, but please make sure you're bringing us with you to your the interior part of your house, away from windows if you're in the path of some of these severe winds. All right, so that's the update. Beyond that, we've got the line of storms that Ryan's currently going after. He's in eastern Kentucky, stepping outside right now in the middle of a downdraft, hopefully, or in the middle of a downburst, I assume, hoping to capture some hail. What's aurora? Aurora borealis. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. I'm sorry I wasn't here for the whole thing, but Ryan actually just went live without really even telling us that we were. This is one of those days where I'm actually not required, but I love to be here for y'all, to talk to y'all. So I'm going to try my best to make it to every stream, even if I'm not on the clock. No birds, so humid. Oh, the quiet before the storm. I see it. Yeah. Northeast Kansas, 101 Fahrenheit. Yeah, if those storms make it over to you, there's some pretty good composite indices telling me that the storms will be propagating pretty well. So there is a pretty broad marginal and slight risk extending to the southwest of our main risk area today from the Storm Prediction Center. 104 in St. Louis. Wow. So yeah, this environment is primed for storms to roll through. Even if they're not organized, we'll get some pulse style storms where they just pop up, dump a bunch of rain and some wind and possibly hail, and they move on. Their storms are going to take advantage of this juicy environment, you know, regardless of whether they have the sheer rotating winds with height in the atmosphere to organize or not. Hot in Omaha, Nebraska. What about Colorado? I think that storms aren't quite popping there yet, but you're along that convergence axis that's really showing up here, where it's well, I guess there are storms popping up there actually. Now that I look at it, sorry, I can only do so much at once. Ryan puts me in the driver's seat right when I'm not ready for it. Every time. I was actually pulling up some DoorDash to get me some food today, so my apologies on that too. Everything's happening at once. We'll hit Green Bay. There's supposed to be a soccer game later. These storms probably have the environment to go all the way to Lake Michigan and even past that. Yeah. Green Bay might be on the northern periphery of this, but I would say that there's a good chance that Green Bay will at least see some thunderstorm activity. You're in a slight risk from the Storm Prediction Center today. And yeah, the corridor that these storms are going to follow, you know, the ones that are in southwestern Wisconsin, it's projected to go all the way due east, almost due east through Milwaukee, Wisconsin later today in the evening. North of Chicago. Chicago might see some remnants. I know you guys got some stuff earlier this morning. I actually have I have some important people in the southern suburbs of Chicago. So when that observed tornado warning happened at 6 a.m. there, I was up. So that also explains why I wasn't here right on time. I was tracking the observed tornado warning in Chicago suburbs, southwestern Chicago, in the early morning hours. So I'm here around the clock. That's what meteorology demands. That's what I do. Wisconsin Dells, more than likely you'll see this storm that's near La Crosse right now head through your area. May develop north and south, but the Dells